Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ryan here alongside Drew. Michigan Storm Chasers here. We are live and starting our severe weather coverage for the afternoon and for the evening here. Current time on your screen is 3:20 p.m. in a few seconds. We're going to go live here as we have a severe thunderstorm warning that has popped up for 3 counties in particular. Let's go ahead and switch over here to our live radar and take a look at what we got going on here. Severe warning is in effect for 55 more minutes, puts us right around 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Counties include in this warning are going to be Ingham, Clinton, and northeastern Eaton County. The hazard is 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and there is no hail, severe hail at least, expected with this particular storm. With this being said, let's go ahead and hop over here to the radar and dive right into things here. So we have a line extending basically from the Clinton County line all the way down here through Grand Ledge, Charlotte, Olivet, back here through Kalamazoo. This line is expected to push eastward as the afternoon goes on. It's going to move into a environment favorable for damaging winds as we get through the later part of the afternoon and evening. Taking a look at the wind speeds though on this storm, we're going to see a couple areas in here, a couple pockets of velocity. There's one here and one here that could be close, if not over 60 miles per hour. Our camera in Charlotte actually has a good visual of this thing as it rolled through. Right now, it's just a lot of heavy rain, some gusty winds there. Overall, it didn't look too severe in Charlotte, which is just south of the warning. I'd estimate probably 30 to 40 mile per hour winds there at the camera. And right now, it's just a lot of heavy rain there falling. So that's courtesy of the Charlotte Fire Department there in the city of Charlotte, which is just south of Lansing. Most of these winds are actually to the north up by Lansing, DeWitt, and St. John's areas. So places included that need to be on alert for some damaging winds: Lansing and East Lansing downtown areas, DeWitt, the 127 corridor up to St. John's, all the way down here toward Holt. This line is going to move to the east here at roughly, according to the warning, 25 miles per hour. Taking a look back here at the radar, zooming out and taking a look across the state and animating this. That line extends, broken line, down to about Kalamazoo, and then some pop-up showers down there in Cass, St. Joseph, and Berrien counties, as well as Branch County as well. Up here toward the Flint area, we got some pop-ups toward the Tri-Cities as well, by Saginaw, Owasso, all the way up here toward the Tawas City area. So we'll be live here as long as we have threats for severe weather. This should taper off roughly around 7, 8, 9 o'clock this evening. So it'll get through the state here at a fairly decent clip, about 4 or 5 hours or so is the expectation. But as it does so, this line will move to the east and it will continue to progress and perhaps grow upscale and produce damaging winds as it does so. We have sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we have a lot of power outages coming in just northwest of Lansing, a slew of them. We're talking several hundreds of people losing power. So these winds are definitely reaching to the surface and are definitely causing some damage. So take this warning seriously.
Yep. Here's your outage map. Drew was just mentioning there, just northwest of Lansing, got multiple outages here. Just north of Grand Ledge along the 96 area from about Portland, Saranac down to about the Lansing area. So this is severe winds likely mixing down to the ground here with this storm taking back the radar. That's going to be just up here in this corridor right here, moving into the North Lansing area. Flipping the velocity on, you can kind of see, tracking this back, you can see the pocket of damaging winds there just north of Grand Ledge as it pushed across 96 and now is over to the 69 corridor heading in toward the DeWitt area. So DeWitt and Lansing areas need to be indoors, away from windows, and prepare for the possibility of some power outages with this particular storm. Yeah, the entire east side of the state here, honestly, the better environment still is to come over here on the east side of the state. So these storms are just getting started per se. They're expected to at least grow upscale, a little bit more organized as they push into the southeast Michigan area. And today is a bit different. If you missed our stream and our video coverage this morning and our write-up forecast, past couple of days we've had these storms that have been popping up. They do dump a lot of rain. and they produce some gusty winds, but then they kind of die out. But today is a bit different. The same environment's in place, so yes, we could still see some microbursts, some quick type of storms, but there's a bit more wind shear today to work with, which is going to organize these storms into more of a line, like kind of like what we're seeing right now in Lansing. You see, we've had like these individual pop-up cells, kind of like what's happening up here in Owasso area, but now we have more shear, which is going to organize this into perhaps like a bow echo type of situation. Now, it's not going to be a large-scale derecho by any means, but these organized line segments can produce damaging winds more efficiently, and that is the concern today as this progresses to the east. So, possibilities, hazards today. Damaging wind is number one. There is really no comparison, damaging winds versus hail or anything tornadic. The damaging winds is preliminary, very, very stout risk today. And then below that, large hail, possible. Shouldn't see too much in the way of large hail. Perhaps some peas to dimes. Quarters are kind of, would be rare in nature, isolated in nature. Anything tornadic right now is very, very low end. If anything's going to happen today, that's going to be tornadic. It's going to be along this area up here in the thumb, where we could have lake breeze boundaries come into play and backing of surface winds that can help in rotation in the low levels of the atmosphere. But that is going to be a very low end risk as it is.
Hey, Ryan.
Who is that?
It's Joel.
What's up, Joel, from the background?
Joel.
Yeah, I am actually, I'm on my way home back to the Lake Odessa area, but I am on 127 heading south right now, and I do have my cam pulled up on my screen share one, the one that we did last time. It might only be in corner 4.
There we go. I got you.
Yep. So I'm in Alma right now, facing south.
Okay, cool. So he's going to be up in the Alma area, which is up here. In fact, there's his dot. I had to assume that's going to be Joel. Yes, it is. So he's just north of this line as it progresses to the east. Also got our chasers out here as well. We got Clayton. We'll have other people out there as well as the afternoon goes on. In fact, let's go ahead and cycle through our chasers here just to kind of see who's out there, if anybody. Obviously, Drew's with us. Just to make sure we're not going to miss anybody. There's Clayton. Yep, looks like it's just Clayton and Joel right now who are active. But we have chasers out ahead of the storm, out of this line that's going to intercept it as it moves their direction. So we'll have more eyes here as the afternoon goes on. All right, let's go ahead and move back in here to the Lansing area. The severe warning remains in effect. Got a nice pocket there of gusty winds moving into the DeWitt as well as Lansing areas. So if you're in downtown Lansing, I'd be prepared for some really gusty winds, perhaps some damaging winds as this moves through the city. Drew's keeping a close eye there on the outage map. I am as well. Looks like we're at 4,000 people, Consumers Energy, and across the state, right around 6,000 people out of power as we start our coverage here. We'll track that, see if it goes up or down. It looks like Ionia County has 1,000 people out, Clinton County about 1,700, and Berry County has about 800 people out of power at this current time.
These storms also have a lot of really heavy rainfall as well as frequent lightning as well as they traverse. So as Ryan mentioned, obviously damaging winds is the main concern, but just like with any storm, frequent lightning is possible. The Detroit National Weather Service specifically mentioned that in part of their text for the severe thunderstorm watch that's for the eastern portion of the state, but also heavy rainfall. So if anyone's traveling in Lansing, just be wary of that. Try to avoid this line if possible.
Yep, and if you happen to get caught up in the storms, take it slow. Hydroplaning is a very, very real risk today across the highways there, especially with 69, 96 there and 127 all coming together. Just not a pleasant situation there for those on the roads. Going further south here, taking a peek down in the Kalamazoo area, we do have more storms developing here. Keeping a close eye on the storm that's moved out of Kalamazoo, heading to Augusta and Galesburg. Nice hail core showing up on radar here on this storm. Probably some gusty winds as well, perhaps a little bit of a downburst occurring near the Galesburg area. Let's see if they put a statement or something on that one. We'll see what they do with it. Going further south here, more so isolated to scattered storms in nature across southern Kalamazoo, southern Van Buren, all of Cass, and then parts of St. Joseph, Berrien, and Branch County as well. So these will be possible. They could become strong or perhaps severe today. But I do think this line, as of right now, is the main concern as this kind of develops and perhaps grows a little bit more upscale and organized as it progresses to the east. As always, guys, if you have reports, pictures, videos, feel free to message those into our Facebook page. Always welcoming of those. We also have a Facebook group called Michigan Weather Reports. You can drop your damage and storm-related reports in there as well. So feel free to utilize those at your discretion. Always welcome for you guys to use.
And also, when you're sending these reports, make sure to add a time as well as a location. That doesn't just help us out, but also the local National Weather Service, whether it's Detroit or GR, or really any local National Weather Service station for Michigan. If you just send a picture in with, let's just say it's hail, with the picture of your hand and with it super zoomed in, it doesn't really do a lot. Sometimes we need those more accurate measurements using quarters or tennis balls or stuff like that. Obviously, the main threat with this line right now is wind. So sending pictures in of tree damage, if you can, try to include measurements. I know it's sometimes a little difficult, obviously, but sending in those reports and adding as much information as possible does not hurt at all. It only helps.
Yep. Caleb always says use the TEL method, time, event, location. And that is a really good tool to kind of remember to get you guys and just kind of put in the back of your head. TEL, TEL, time, event, location. Helps us out a lot. Further north, I see some questions popping in here for those who live up in the Gaylord area. There's a chance for some pop-up storms up there. In fact, we got some happening right now just south of Hillman near Avery. Those are not strong or severe. Not really expected to be strong or severe up there. Up in the UP, we're pretty much clear up there. Enjoy your nice cool day. I'm kind of jealous of you guys up there in the 60s while I'm down here in Lenawee County in the close to 90 degrees here. So a little bit jealous of you guys. But for the most part, activity today stays downstate. Yes, there is a risk potentially for the UP tomorrow, as well as a risk for the UP and northern blower on Sunday. So active stretch of weather continues here across Michigan. Very windy in Lansing. If you guys can estimate your wind speeds, that'd be great. Obviously, do so safely. Don't want you guys to go outside and stand in the middle of wind and do measurement, obviously. But if you guys can do so safely and estimate your winds, that'd be great. Same thing with hail as well. If you guys have hail reports, just don't say huge hail, here. Be more specific, please. Try like quarter size hail, dime size hail, pea size hail, so on and so forth. Yep, this warning is going to be in effect for 60-mile-per-hour winds. It's going to include the northern half of Ingham, the northeastern half of Eaton, and most all of Clinton County here. The storm itself has kind of exited, for the most part, exited Eaton County. Just a little bit more so heavy rain here in the West Lansing area. Up here by Riley, St. John's, Fowler, Maple Rapids, you guys are clear as well. We'll see if they extend this over. Now, this is going to be Grand Rapids jurisdiction from NWS, but Owasso and the Genoa area over here, this is Livingston and maybe Shiawassee County here. That's going to be Detroit's jurisdiction, NWS Detroit. So we'll have to see what Detroit decides to do with these storms as they cross over into their coverage area. New special weather statement coming for Shiawassee. It's kind of funny how we do this all the time, Drew. How we just kind of mention new warnings or statements possibly, and then here they come in. It's crazy. So you're going to see a blue box pop in here for Shiawassee. We'll go ahead and take a peek at that once it does so. I'm guessing probably 40 or 50 mile per hour winds and pea-size hail. We'll see.
Yeah. Right now, the gustiest winds are just on the northern side of downtown Lansing right now. Thankfully, as of now, no new outages came in ever since we've gone live. Now, obviously, that can always change quickly. But in terms of what we're seeing at the ground level right now, looks like we're not getting any new power outages as of now. But like I said, that can easily change in a heartbeat. So,
yep. New statement there for Shiawassee says wind gust up to 55 and pea-size hail. So 58 or higher is severe criteria. 55 is basically at just below severe criteria. So we'll have to see if they upgrade this. And I also can't help but notice, Drew, we have the Burton camera lined up for intercept here in about an hour if these storms continue that direction. So we'll keep an eye on that. Taking a peek back at the Charlotte camera. Actually, that's the wrong source. Give me a second here to flip that back over. I was showing you guys the outage map earlier. There we go. There's a Charlotte camera, and it looks like the rain is still it's lightened up there, but still raining. This is facing to the west here at the Charlotte Fire Department, and it's still engulfed within the rain sector of that storm. But as you can see, the winds are pretty calm, so that's really good news. So zooming back down here to the south, taking a peek back here in Kalamazoo County. We have a camera there at the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety. Looks like a nice blue sky behind these storms. The good news, though, as these storms pass, we're going to drop in humidity as evening, and especially overnight, goes on. Tomorrow will be much less humid out there, but unfortunately, a resurgence back with the humidity comes next week on the Monday time frame. So a little bit of a break there. New trim back here, actually. They trimmed Eaton completely out of the warning, and they also trimmed the western part of Clinton County out of that warning. And it's going to remain for 60 mile per hour winds, which is radar indication there. Looks like the heaviest of the winds are just situated literally just north of downtown Lansing here. Also just north here, just to the east of DeWitt, moving to the north of Bath toward Lanesburg.
like Ryan was mentioning earlier on, we're going to be watching these storms as they move off to the east. Right now, the better shear is off to the northeast, mainly in the thumb region. So basically, we have a lot of instability. We have a lot of storm juice out in the atmosphere, as is the easy way to say it, basically. And we need that shear to kind of support these storms. So that's why we just kind of we can get scattered reports of severe winds like what we're having right now, but the better shear is off to the east, so there might be a better chance of these storms being severe as they continue to move off to the east. And that's why there's that slight risk in eastern Michigan and not west of Lansing.
Yep. And if you guys missed the forecast here today, we can go ahead and show you guys this real quick if you guys would like to see it. If I can get this loaded in real quick. It's not going to let me right now. But I'll pop in the outlook here as soon as it loads in. But the outlook that Drew mentioned is basically, if you know where US 1 or US 23 is from the state line of Ohio through Ann Arbor to Flint, that general region and points to the east have the better risk today, better parameters for severe weather. There we go. There is your risk area. If I can pop the warning bar off the screen just for a second so you guys can see that. There you go. The level 3 risk that we put out there from Adrian to about Flint and then points to the eastward there. Level 2 is where the storms currently are. We're kind of expecting the fire. So everything's going to plan. And as they cross close to US 23, they have a better shot at becoming better organized there. So hopefully that helps you kind of visualize the risk areas today. Nice little pocket there still, Drew, just north of Lansing of damaging winds perhaps. Radar indications here close to 60 or 62. Whether or not that's hitting the ground or not, we don't know that. But the radar indication, should I say, is definitely some strong winds are occurring here just north of the Lansing area. Drew, I don't see too many power outages coming in yet either. So hopefully those are elevated themselves off the surface and no longer impacting those at the ground level.
And we have chasers nearby this storm system right now. Clayton is nearby. The severe thunderstorm warning right now, getting into position to intercept this line. So he'll give us updates behind the scenes on what the storm complex is doing here.
Yeah, I'm still looking north, or still looking south, right into the north side of this.
Let's go ahead and take Joel full if we can. Interesting.
Take me off corner cam if you're taking me full.
That didn't work.
Again, we have more thunderstorms across the state. We're mainly just focused on the Lansing area where those strongest winds are at. So we'll be obviously watching behind the scenes here. Anywhere else that needs to be shouted out at all, but right now it just looks like across the state, mainly just heavy rain and lightning. But once again, could easily change just based on how much instability that we have in place. So.
Speaking of instability too, Drew, we have a lot of downdraft cape, don't we?
Yeah,
Yeah,
over 1,000.
So downdraft cape is kind of like your instability in that downdraft sector of these storms that can really produce some microburst and damaging winds with it. And usually, I mean, personal preference, I looked about 600 to 900-ish for a decent low-end threat. Get close to 1,000 or over 1,000. That's when we have a little bit more of a medium to a high-end risk day, because we do have a lot of this instability aiding in the fact that we have some downdrafts being possible. So we have a lot of decape, as we call it today, and that's going to aid in severe winds via downbursts and microbursts. And yes, we are live, and we'll be live until the severe threat is either at a minimum or completely over.
It's like Ryan knew a scan amplifies those winds here just northeast of Lansing. But like you said, some of these might not be reaching the ground. But regardless, go ahead.
Directly over I-69 here, heading toward the Maurice area, just north of Williamston. The pocket there, you can kind of see the brighter reds and now the yellowish tan color. Moving to the basically right along 69 here, maybe just north of the highway toward Bennington, Corunna, Vernon, and Maurice areas. So we'll have to see here if we continue to get any reports. Looks like the outage map still remains blank to the north side of Lansing. So that's really good news. And still we have a new weather alert coming in there for Shiawassee and Livingston. That's going to be 60 mile per hour wind. Not a surprise by that at all. The winds here, you can kind of just see what Drew just mentioned. The wind's pocket there is still very, very strong in nature. So Owasso, Corunna, Vernon, Durand, Bennington, Maurice, Byron, Cohocton, all the way down here toward Nicholson. This is going to be for 60 mile per hour winds. No hail expected with this, or should I say no severe hail is expected with it. And it looks like it's in effect for another hour and 2 minutes. That puts us at 4:45 p.m. Eastern Time. So we have 4 counties now within a severe warning. Northern Livingston County, extreme actually northwest corner there. So Cohocton is really the only place in the Livingston County area within that warning. The southern half here of Shiawassee, the eastern half of Clinton, and the northern half of Ingham County all within a severe thunderstorm warning for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour.
Looks like we just got some power outages just west of Lanesburg here. About, I want to make sure I get this right here, 104 people without power. So that would be not right exactly where the strongest winds are at, but other cell that is just west of Bennington and south of Ovid. So we'll keep an eye on it if it continues to grow. But we are starting to get a few more power outages starting to be reported here. Can you guys hear Ryan? I'm seeing a few comments saying can't hear Ryan.
I should be. Yeah, my mic is on.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. All right, we're good.
If I'm quiet, I can do. I can put myself up a little bit. See how that sounds for you guys. I am a soft talker. I really am. So this is going to be moving in toward the Detroit CWA, which is starting right here. These two yellow boxes here. That's this one actually right here. Owasso, down here toward the Cohocton area. And the cutoff, I believe, for Detroit's area is right here. So that's kind of where the cutoff is between Grand Rapids jurisdiction and Detroit's jurisdiction. Okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm listening to myself there. I'm sounding pretty good on my end, so. Thanks, guys.
See Joel's cam. It's pretty impressive structure, just with how spread out those clouds are. So these clouds are definitely reaching very high in the atmosphere right now.
I do have some of Mattis up here off the top of my right.
I was wondering about that.
I can also see the storm off to my left, just to the west of me, near Ashley, I believe.
Ryan, looks like our winds are becoming a little bit more widespread in Shiawassee County right now.
Yeah,
For the latest scan.
I would definitely agree with that. So this is going to move toward the Maurice, Bennington, and Owasso areas here in about a matter of 5 to 10 minutes. Pop myself back on the screen there. So this is going to be an area to watch as it moves toward basically right along 69. If you go ahead and back this off and animate it, the brighter reds are what we're kind of looking for here. That indicates the velocity, the wind velocity is a little bit higher in nature. Taking back at the power outage map as well, looks like there's just a few more popping in, but nothing widespread like it was over by the Grand Ledge area. Taking a zoomed out look, going back down here toward Kalamazoo. Let's take a peek down here as well. These are looking a little bit more organized now as they progress to the east. So Olivet, Eaton Rapids, Onondaga, Marshall, Albion. Also down here by Coldwater, Jonesville, and Hillsdale. We have cells popping up here. Let's take a look down here at the IWX radar and zoom in for the Coldwater area. Yeah, not seeing too much anything there. That's good news. Not seeing anything too much down by the border of Indiana, so that's really good news as well. I still think that the storm just to the east of Galesburg here now, that looks to be one of the strongest that I can see based on radar. Good updraft on it, and perhaps a little bit more in the way of velocity, but when it comes to severe, I don't think it's close to that.
It's like behind the scenes here, Ryan. Looks like we have a good shelf cloud with that line. That's now, it's that same storm system that's currently severe warned in Shiawassee County right now.
Okay. Let's cycle through the cameras here and see if we got a view of anything. I think Burton's going to be the next camera on deck, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Burton up here and get that ready to go. There we go. So if you're just joining us here, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Ingham, northern Ingham to be exact, northwestern Livingston, southern Shiawassee, and the eastern portion of Clinton County. All of these warnings are in effect for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour as the one and only hazard. Some small hail could occur with these storms, but right now it is an unlikely scenario. In fact, we turn the hail tracker just to give you guys an idea. Most of what's falling here is just pea size at best. I don't really see anything that indicates that we have anything significant hail-wise falling, and certainly not seeing anything rotational-wise right now at all. All we're seeing is a pocket of damaging winds, perhaps right over the highway of 69. Do we have any MDOT cameras in that location? It's going to be just west of Perry. Nope, we have no cameras there at all. So Shiawassee and Livingston County, their warning goes until roughly 4:45 p.m. Eastern. Then northern Ingham and the eastern part of Clinton, in effect for 23 more minutes, puts us right around the 4:15 time frame.
Once again, we're getting a few more scattered power outages just west of Perry. Being reported here, but once again, not nearly as widespread as they were before. But once again, we are getting occasional reports of power outages across Shiawassee County.
We got Clayton with a good view here. We're going to take him. Nice shelf cloud there. Trying to get a location on Clayton here. I believe he's going to be probably out ahead of that line if I had to guess. Ooh, nice bolt there too. That's great. Good stuff here from Clayton. Yeah, so he's going to be just west of Vernon, which is going to be up there in the warning, just to the, basically, think about 20 miles west of Flint. About 16 miles, actually, to be exact. About 16 miles west of Flint. Beautiful shelf cloud. Just for reference, flip this over here real quick to the radar. This is going to be where he's at, right here in Vernon. And then storms are moving right his direction, right down 69. So Good view here. We're going to take it back here and sit back and watch. The risk today for anything tornadic is very low. I would expect anything tornadic wise today would be up in the thumb, but even then it's a very, very low chance. So shelf clouds indicate that we could have some gusty winds there, but that's all they really indicate. Wall clouds are the ones that produce tornadoes, and what's on your screen currently is what's called a shelf cloud. Basically, there's a lot of rain-cooled air getting forced out of this thunderstorm, also a lot of cooled air getting pulled upwards, and it kind of creates a condensation, and that's where we have a shelf cloud is formed. So this is not tornadic on your screen at any means at all. It is just indicative of a forward-moving storm that may also have some gusty winds with it. Yeah, if you guys have pictures, damage reports, feel free to send those into us. I know we got Drew here checking the background. Looks like a new warning coming in, perhaps a trim. We'll see what they do with this one real quick. But yeah, if you guys have reports of damage or storms, feel free to send those into us. We got Chandler, Drew, Andrew, and a couple other guys behind the scenes keeping a close eye on things. They have kept the warning, looks like, for Ingham County in effect. They just updated it to cancel out the Clinton County part of it. I'm going to put Clayton back up there in the top right corner for you guys. Looks like he's going to be on the move here momentarily. Throw him back up there. We're going to take back the radar, and we are going to take a peek. There we go. At these storms once again. So let's go ahead and flip over here to the Detroit radar. We're getting very close to the Detroit radar now. So we're going to have a look here. Again, damaging winds. Looks like they're continuing to progress east and a little bit north toward Maurice. Where Clayton is near Vernon and Durand. So we'll have a good look at that here real shortly, honestly. Good view there with a shelf cloud. Probably have some wind there in a few minutes. So we'll keep an eye on his cam there in the top right. Further south, though, along this line, still not seeing anything organizing. Too much behind that line here, at least right now. But as these storms progress eastward, the environment does become more favorable east of this line here. So we'll see what these storms will do once they get closer to the east side of the state. Clayton is going to be to the west of Flint by about 15 miles. So the severe warning has been dropped completely for Clinton County. And it looks like it's been trimmed back now for Shiawassee. Continues for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and the hail threat is minimal. Less than penny size, looks like. He's got a nice view there. He's getting really close to the edge of that shelf cloud. And underneath that shelf cloud is very turbulent skies known as whale's mouth. A lot of times I'll look up into the whale's mouth and you kind of see a lot of turbulence, a lot of movement up there. That's pretty normal. Latest scan as well looks to increase velocity heading towards Clayton's direction. Just basically over Perry and Maurice, heading toward Antrim Center, Bancroft, and Union Plains, what I believe is going to be just south of where Clayton's at. Also want to take a quick look here at Joel's camera. Joel has a very, very, very nice view of, looks like Mamatis. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful there. So we got Clayton on center screen. We got Joel in the bottom left. We got my home base camera up there in the top right. Myself and Drew in the top left there. Likely will be live through the afternoon and evening as these storms progress to the east and north. Unless they are significantly weaker than expected, I don't see a reason why we'll be off here anytime soon. So feel free to tune in, grab some popcorn, sit back, relax. We got you guys covered here. In the event that you need to take shelter, we'll let you guys know.
See, pretty potent rain shaft too, right to his right.
Mm-hmm. Also, I want to take note that the power outage map is still lighting up along the edge of the storm. So, Clayton, if you can hear us, you have some pretty gusty winds. I believe it's going to be just off to your south of your current position. Looks like it's going to be at least 60 on radar. In fact, let's go ahead and take radar back. I want to take a peek at this and call some areas out that should be inside, away from windows. Latest scan here, basically directly over Perry, Maurice, Antrim Center, Bancroft, Union Plains, Byron, Durand, Vernon. Everybody in between those areas should be inside and away from windows, particularly the lowest floor of your house. Not because it's a tornado, but because these damaging winds look like they're cranking eastward here, and the power outage map is starting to light up there in the path of this as well, back toward the Bath area, basically following I-69 in East Lansing. So this is definitely producing, if not damaging, very, very strong winds that are bringing down trees and or power lines. Take a peek back here at Clayton's camera.
Yeah, those power outages are just hovering right along Interstate 69.
Is it Morris? I always call it Maurice. Well, you learn something new every day. So it's Morris. Okay. Got it.
Hey, Ryan.
Yes, Joel.
I did have a view. I was parked for a little bit watching that storm off to my east. It's in St. Charles, so I believe it's over in Saginaw County now. But I noticed on radar is a little bit of heavier damaging winds perhaps showing up. From my angle, it looks like I can see perhaps like the backside of some sort of like a wall or a shelf. So I'm assuming that it's starting to gust out down and away from that storm up there in Saginaw as well.
Okay. Yeah, there could be a little bit of a downburst there by Brant that I'm seeing, but nothing that really catches my eye other than that. Pop this on the screen real quick. Actually, we're going to leave it with Clayton. Clayton's getting rocked right now by winds. We're going to leave it right here with Clayton for a second. Looks like a good 40 or 50 there.
Yeah, he's right along that bow.
Is he on a spotter network? Because I don't have him on Omega.
He's on Radar Scope, the spotter network there.
Interesting. I don't have him on Omega, which is weird.
He's just north of Brandcroft.
Okay.
Maybe if he doesn't have Radar Omega, then it doesn't show up. Yeah, the strongest wind gust guys are in the southern portions of Shiawassee County right now, which is where Clayton's at right now.
You can see the winds there easily. I'm going to say easily 40 to 50, if not a bit stronger than that.
Yeah, wow.
That was loud. Holy cow.
Have some reports of damage coming in from the DeWitt area. Some trees down across the roadways. East Lansing as well. Looks like there are some reports for trees coming down in those general areas. So thank you guys for sending those reports in to us. Appreciate those. More than you know. Let's go ahead and take back our radar here, and we're going to take a look at these storms now as they progress to the east. We're going to throw Clayton back there in the top right of your screen. Here we go. So what Joel was talking about a few minutes ago up by the Brant area, perhaps a little bit of a downburst going on up there in the Saginaw County area, just south and west of Swan Creek. Otherwise, don't see too much going on up there, although the radar beam is a little bit higher up the further north you go. Further south here in the warning, we have two cells kind of splitting together here. So we have actually a couple areas. We have initial gust of wind that's out ahead of this storm. It's called outflow boundary. That is where I'm circling right now on your screen. But the actual rain itself is back here. Perhaps some gustier winds is tied back here at the leading edge of the rain shield. So perhaps a 1-2 type of punch here with the outflow boundary winds. That should be those should not be severe, but what's behind it may be severe. Currently over Morris, up here toward Corunna, heading toward Vernon and Durant area, and eventually into Genesee County. Further south in Ingham County, we have several cells that are popping up with these storms. None of these look overly concerning at the current moment. Also want to take note, new flood advisory coming in here for Kalamazoo County. Looks like we have a 6-hour limit on that until 10:15 p.m. Eastern time. Says minor flooding in low-lying areas there in the Kalamazoo area. We have a camera, not our camera, but the Department of Public Safety camera there in downtown Kalamazoo facing to the north. You can see blue sky and also raining here at the same time. So that's always a fun sight to see when it's raining with blue sky. Looking at the radar, though, don't see anything here that warrants concern for severe via the IWX radar. Let's take a peek here at the Grand Rapids radar, and yeah, I still don't see much anything with these storms at the current moment. Looks like Clayton's getting some winds there as well, or still. Yeah, there's your winds with the actual storms themselves. Clayton is reporting 64 mile per hour winds off of his handheld anemometer. 64 mile per hour winds via handheld anemometer. So those are confirmed severe winds here via Clayton, which is going to be in Shiawassee County in the vicinity of Bancroft. So with those winds will likely come power outages as well. Taking a peek back here at the radar, it's going right back into where we were focused in on. We're going to focus right back in where Clayton currently is. That's going to be basically directly over where these gusty winds are occurring, right in this general vicinity, from Antrim Center to Union Plains to Bancroft to Vernon. That's going to be where the heaviest of winds is occurring. 64 mile per hour gusts confirmed there by Clayton a few minutes ago. So if you're living out ahead of this, Swartz Creek, Lennon, Linden, Byron, western part of Genesee County, primarily along and south of 69, you guys are on deck for this. There's no warnings yet for you guys. Well, let's see if they issue one here, or a statement perhaps for you guys. But still, we have a spotter confirmed report of 64 mile per hour winds right along this area. So let's see if they issue that warning once again for southern Genesee County. Other than that, I don't really see too much further south and west that warrants concern. If anything does warrant concern, we'll talk about it, let you guys know. For the most part, general thunderstorms, maybe some small hail, frequent lightning, heavy downpours, and maybe some gusty winds with any of these storms from Lansing back toward about the Kalamazoo area, and even down here by the Jonesville, Hillsdale, Albion areas. Looking at the outage map as well, we have a, looks like roughly 11,000 people now without power. About 3,000 of those are in Clinton County, and about 1,000 plus in Ionia. I think the really big focus should still be on this storm here in the southern part of Shiawassee. I also want to put the northern part of Livingston County on alert there by Cohocton as this cell progresses toward Cohocton, and eventually, like I said, Fenton, Linden, Swartz Creek areas, and maybe as far north as Lennon, and maybe even downtown Flint. Well, let's see how these winds progress as they move to the east. So we're going to go ahead and animate this and leave it on the loop here. Looks like Barb says wind is picking up Flint Township. Now, do take note that we talked about this before, but there's actually kind of like a 1-2 punch here. There's an outflow boundary that is basically positioned out ahead of this right there. But the actual rain and heavier winds are tucked behind that boundary. So the initial wind gust is going to hit you before the rain gets to you. And there's going to be like a little bit of break between. And then the actual rain and storm is going to come back a little bit more so strong. So Clayton
again, guys,
go ahead.
Once again, guys, appreciate the reports. We're getting multiple reports of tree damage. Even one report around the Clinton County area of a pine tree snapped in half due to the damaging winds. So definitely some really strong damaging winds. Once again, we've repeated this a few times, but feel free to send any reports to our Michigan weather report page. Please include a location and time frame, as well as other additional details of tree size or what type of tree or anything like that. Can be really handy for our local National Weather Service friends.
Yep, I have the weather reports page pulled up. So if you guys submit reports, I can see that in real time as well, and I can communicate to the people watching here, all about 3,000 of you guys right now. I can communicate that to you and let you guys know, hey, we have actually damaging storms heading your way. So what it appears, I can tell you guys right now, based on your reports, is we have a lot of tree damage around the DeWitt, Lansing, East Lansing area. And that storm has progressed eastward and has progressed and produced power outages all the way into the East Lansing and close to Perry and Morris areas as it moves up toward Durand and Bancroft. So, with that said, again, putting the southwestern part of Genesee County on alert as this cell progresses your direction. No warning yet for Genesee. I expect one to be issued here soon, as the storm does not look like it's weakened at all. In fact, I think it's kind of spread out and kind of strengthened from Vernon down here toward Cohocton now, so perhaps a wider area of some gusty to damaging winds is occurring with this storm. Swartz Creek, Linden, Byron, Gaines, Duffield, Argentine. Or is it Argentine? I'm going to nip this in the bud now. Is it Argentine or Argentine?
I guess Argentine. Might be wrong.
I'm just going to have like a separate computer pulled up for the Michigan pronunciation guide at this point.
I know I need it.
Tine. Okay, thank you. Argentine. Thank you, Jacqueline, for that super chat. Appreciate your support. Now you guys are saying both teen and tine, so I think it's... You guys are crazy. I'm just going to go to the pronunciation guy at this point. There's so much confusion on pronunciations. And survey says, according to the state of Michigan,
Argentine.
Argentine. So there you have it. According to the state of Michigan, it's Argentine. The only severe warning in the state continues to be in effect. Did they just trim this back, or what happened with it?
Yeah, they did.
Okay. 60 mile per hour winds continues. There it is. So there's the trim back. Very far southeast corner, of Shiawassee, the very far northern western part of Livingston. I'm kind of surprised they haven't issued a new statement or a warning yet for Genesee here. This is heading right for the Burton camera too, which is going to be really cool to see as it moves in from the east, or from the west to the east. Looking at the Burton camera now, you can kind of see on the right side of your screen, you can see the leading edge, darker clouds filling in there as this progresses to you guys. Again, going further south here, some scattered storms continue to develop, and none of them look overly concerning at this current moment. There is a flood advisory for Portage, Kalamazoo, and Galesburg areas, so if you're on 94 or 131 there, take it easy on the roads. Could be some flooded roadways out and about. Further north into the Thumb and the Tri-Cities region, we have some scattered showers and storms popping up there by Vassar, Frankenmuth, Sebring, Cass City, as well as Pinconning. Current time on your screen is 4:18 p.m. If you're not synced up with us, feel free to sync up. You should be within about a 30-second time difference of the 4:18 and 22 seconds. One warning in effect, and that is for the storm that has produced multiple power outages, as well as tree damage and power line damage. Latest power outage update puts us at 11,600, so that hasn't changed in about 10 minutes or so. Most of these outages centered right along 6996 around the Lansing area from about Ionia over to Perry is where these outages are centered. And yes, downpouring rain is going to be an issue here, especially if these storms can train over the same areas. Like, for example, over here in Ingham County, a lot of rain here moving toward the exact same area. So that's going to produce probably some some at least ponding of water here. Looks like a new statement's coming in. Yeah, for Saginaw. Yep, there it is. So up here for Saginaw, Visar, Caro, Cass City, and Wisner areas. This is going to be a special weather statement, which is a step below severe. Winds in excess of 40 miles per hour is the only hazard with that area, with that statement.
Once again, guys, we really appreciate your reports that are coming in, getting multiple reports of tree damage. Also in Eagle, Michigan, which is once again right where that surge of power just came through, just northwest of Lansing.
Gusty winds continues to progress toward the Genesee County line here. It's going to be over Union Plains, heading right for the Gaines area. So I, again, would expect them to issue a warning here for southwest Genesee. If not a warning, probably a statement for 50 or 55 mile per hour winds there. So again, still putting you guys on alert in the south and west corner of Genesee here, from Swartz Creek to Linden down toward the Argentine to Gaines area. If that progresses and continues to the east toward Grand Blanc, it'll be moving toward Fenton, Holly, and Newark. But you got some time out there, so no need to immediately take action. I also want to take note further south here toward Cohocton. That storm is intensified, as I kind of pointed out there like 10 or 15 minutes ago. This now has some gusty winds heading toward the Cohocton area in northern Livingston County. So 2 pockets of gusty to perhaps damaging winds now exists, and all within the warning polygon currently, which is really good news. Other than those 2 pockets, I don't see anything else worth talking about for severe wind-wise. Again, taking a peek across all radars, I do not see much in the way that suggests that we have severe winds are occurring. Perhaps some gusty winds occurring here in the Battle Creek Marshall areas, but I would not suggest those are severe. And looking at both radars here, I don't see much anything to be concerned about. So keep it focused in right here. Latest SPC update continues a slight risk for the entirety of southeast Michigan, with damaging winds still as your only hazard. So that has not changed. These storms are ongoing and will continue to be ongoing for the rest of the afternoon and part of the evening hours. I want to take a peek up here in the thumb still, looking at all these cells popping up. It's kind of hard to get a good idea what's happening up here in the thumb region, just because the radar beam is shooting so high up in the atmosphere. We can't really get a good, decent look at what's happening below, 6, 7, 8,000 feet or even more.
Line segment continues to have pretty gusty winds along it as it continues to move off to the east here.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they have not issued any further warnings to the east of this, like for the northern part of Livingston, the southern part of Genesee. We'll expect them to issue one here momentarily for it. But again, this never fails. New warning coming in now for southwestern Genesee and northern Livingston. 60 mile per hour winds is the hazard. Hour and 7 minutes on that warning puts us at 5:30 p.m. Eastern for expiration time. Places include Tyrone Township, Fenton, Linden, Osceola Township, Deerfield Center, Argentine, Linden, I think I already said Linden, Fenton, Swartz Creek, Lennon, Duffield, and the southwest corner of the metro downtown Flint area. Does not include Burton, Grand Blanc, or Holly at this current time. Thank you, Emily, for the super chat. Appreciate your support there.
Yeah, this
So I want to take a mental note once again here for you guys. I want to take a look here at the radar. So you're going to see likely the initial shelf cloud and burst of wind before you see any rain. This is an outflow boundary here on the radar. So that's going to basically outflow winds from the storm getting pushed outwards. So you're likely going to get a burst of wind before the rain hits, but then there's going to be a little bit of a gap here between, and then the actual strongest winds are still back here within all this rain. So it's kind of like a 1-2 punch here. So just because the initial outflow boundary passes you with the wind, you have like a 5 to 10 minute gap there before the rain hits you, and that's going to contain the real gusty winds here. Looks like we're having pockets of 50 to 55 here heading toward the Byron and Cohocton area. And looking up here toward the southwest corner of Genesee, I would definitely suggest that the winds up there are weakening slightly, but still pretty gusty, around 40 to 50 miles per hour. Maybe a pocket close to 50 there, moving across into Genesee County.
I'm currently driving through DeWitt right now. Damage so far, it's only been confined to small branches and a bunch of leaves. Not anything too significant right now. So it could be else.
Thank you, Joel, for that. So if you guys couldn't hear him there, you're a little bit robotic there, Joel, but if you guys couldn't hear him, he's reporting just small twigs and branches down in the DeWitt area, nothing major at this time, so that's good news. Checking out the Burton camera here. Still blue skies, but to the right of your screen is that incoming storm approaching the camera. It may just go to the south, perhaps, of the camera. Maybe it's going to be very, very close. Either way, we're going to have a really good look at it as it progresses. I think behind the houses there, I really think we're going to see a shelf cloud come into view here. Like right... Whoops. Gotta do this again. I'll fix that. I was going to try and point something out there on the camera, but my my computer doesn't want to be cooperative today. So go figure on that.
I will note, just in southeast Kalamazoo County, there seems to be weak rotation. Nothing too concerning, but as I was mentioning, we're always watching things behind the scenes here. Obviously, our main focus is where the severe thunderstorm warning was. It looked a little bit better in the previous scan. Obviously, it's weakened a little bit, but as always, we're always keeping an eye on things behind the scenes here.
Yep. Drew's got his radar pulled up. In fact, if I take Drew's screen, you're going to see his radar there. He's looking at stuff too. So we have both radars pulled up. I got my third radar up here I'm looking at too, so I'm kind of looking at things across the state as well. So we have all eyes for you guys in the field and also here on radar. So with that said, the only area of concern really right now for anything severe is going to be in southwest Genesee and northern Livingston County. And that's going to be for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. That's going to be for the brighter green area on your screen as this progresses to the east and a little slightly north here toward just south of Flint, toward Grand Blanc and 75 here, about to cross 23 as well. Flindon, Fenton, and Swartz Creek being impacted by that, Cohocton as well as we speak. And I want to take back the Burton camera as I believe, as I guessed, there is a base or perhaps a shelf cloud coming into view here above the houses and tree lines. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. Also a train going through there, so backing up traffic, but we're going to see likely
also-
a nice shelf cloud here moving into Burton.
We're also getting a mini surge of power outages just south of Durand. Got about 273 customers, actually a little bit more than that, just south of Durand, right where those winds are at right now. So we do have power outages, once again, still coming in occasionally. So
Windy in Cohocton, really dark. Got an emergency app notification. Started raining. Okay, thank you for that report. These winds are now moving through Cohocton, moving in toward Linden, Fenton, and Tyrone Township here. This is going to be likely 40 to 50, perhaps a little bit higher than that. Gusts moving in toward the 23 corridor as we speak. Actually, I take that back. In about 5 or 10 minutes, we'll be moving toward 23. That shelf cloud on Burton's becoming a little bit more evident now, too, so we'll keep a close eye on that camera. So zooming out here, taking a broad scale look at things. If you guys are wondering when the storms are going to come for you guys, well, number one, not everybody's going to be impacted today. I try to make that clear in the forecast this morning. More so scattered nature of storms here from the Thumb region. Actually got a lot of storms popping up here in the Thumb and over Lake Huron. That's was not in the models. That's interesting. But for the most part, this is happening as we expected it to. But if you take note here, there's going to be some areas that may get missed by a storm or two. So just because you don't get severe weather or don't get rain doesn't mean your neighbors 10 miles up the road didn't as well. Be kind of like an isolated, scattered nature type of day. I will say, though, Drew, I will take note of the outflow boundary now ahead of the storm has now sparked a storm to the south here, heading toward the Brighton and Howell area. So if you guys take some note here with the outflow boundary, we've been talking about this for the better half of an hour or so. Outflow boundaries rush out from thunderstorms, and they provide a source of lift and also some enhanced wind shear in some instances. And we can see the lift there from the outflow boundary has sparked a shower directly on that boundary. So that's what we're seeing right here develop. And that's very typical of what boundaries do on these hot, muggy days like today. So perhaps more instances of pop-up storms along this boundary as it moves to the east here. Let's go ahead and check out the power outage map here from Consumers Energy. And yeah, as Drew, I almost called you Joel. As Drew almost mentioned, we do have a pocket there of outages coming in just south of Durand, also down there by Argentine as well. Total outages are now up to 16,700 people. Yeah, most of what's happening up there by the Flint area, it's kind of splitting you guys, which is good news. You'll probably get some rain, perhaps some thunder out of this, but for the most part, the worst of it's going to stay to your south. If we're going to animate this, it may brush the south part of the city, but for right now, it looks like Flint proper downtown area is going to get missed by this. That's also where the camera is here, the Burton camera. If you guys can't see it on the radar, it's right there. So we'll have to see what happens with this. Definitely some rain incoming, but for the most part, the majority will miss to the south here. New scan came in. Let's go ahead and take a look at the velocity. Continues to look very bright here just north of Argentine, moving out of Byron and Gaines area. So Linden, Bayport Park, Lakeside, Fenton, as well as Swartz Creek and US 23 corridor should be on alert here as these winds move your direction. Cohocton now, Deer Creek, Deerfield Center, Oak Grove, Argentine, and Tyrone Township will be impacted here as well very soon. This is the only severe storm in the state currently. Let's go ahead and check down on our storm that Drew mentioned a few minutes ago about Kalamazoo. Still not seeing too much there that warrants much of a concern. With that, I'll take a look at the Grand Rapids radar there. A little bit of a wind signature there near the climax area. And yeah, as Drew mentioned, perhaps a little bit of rotation with that, but doesn't look organized at all, so not too much of a concern with that. We'll keep an eye on that. Very weak, if anything, is there. Up here in the Thumb region, let's check out our Harbor Beach camera before we move on too much. Let's take that here for a second, and that's going to be Harbor Beach facing to the northwest. For the most part, pretty sunny out there. Got some storms on the horizon, but not too much to write home about on camera at this current time. There's Manistee, getting the wind rocking in their Manistee camera. There's Manistee West over Lake Michigan. There's the Old Stone Porch in Ionia. And then there's back to Burton camera here, facing to the south, but that storm front approaching. Nice view there. So we're going to leave that. We'll leave it on the background here. I'll take a peek at this as it pushes that direction here in a few more minutes. That boundary is becoming displaced to the east. And when that boundary puts a bigger gap between the actual rain and where the boundary is, usually that means that this storm is going to start to weaken. Usually. That's what it means. We'll have to see if that's the case with this. What's down here in Jackson County? Anything going on down here? Check the airport radar here. Maybe some gusty winds just north of Jackson, probably 30 or so miles an hour, 35 here on radar. Not too concerning yet with that. Yeah, I think the only thing really concerning right now is going to be this storm in the Genesee County area. Winds have increased on the latest scan. Looks like 50 mile an hour in a widespread area, 40 to 50 to be exact. Same area's been talking about there near Fenton, Linden, and eventually toward Holly and Grand Blanc if that continues. Bayport Park, Lakeside, Tyrone Township, Parshallville, Hollers Corner, and Hickory Ridge. We're going to take a zoomed out look. We're just going to sit here, animate this, and I'm going to flip this over here to the Burton camera. Let's go ahead and watch the storm roll in, shall we?
Hey, Ryan, I got no power here at the interchange of 6996 on the northwest side of Lansing. Currently on my cam, traffic lights are out.
All right. And Joel, that's really no surprise either. Got some scattered power outages from there from Bath to about the Grand Ledge area, all along that northern Lansing area from 69 there. So where'd you say you were exactly? 69 and what?
69 at 96, where they just meet right on Grand River.
Yep, I got you now. So that's actually, yeah, that's on the map here. Looks like it's an outage here from 505 people affected, reported first at 3:12 p.m. So a big outage there, one of the bigger ones on the map.
Just let you know, Ryan, Clayton is getting ahead of this line once again. I believe he is just ahead of it.
Okay. Let's check on our other chasers out there. We have some other people going out and about this evening. I'll cycle through these real quick, make sure no one's out there and has a view that we are not aware of. Which I don't see anybody.
Mike is on.
Mike is on. There he is. Yeah. There we go. So we got 4 chasers out there currently. And that cell in Burton does not look organized visually at all. Although I think we're getting the initial outflow boundary first, so perhaps minimal structure with this. We talked about that boundary being displaced about 5 miles to the east of the actual storms themselves. And I think what's on your screen there, that's going to be the initial outflow from the storm pushing toward the camera. In fact, it is. So the rain's going to be tucked behind that outflow boundary. Looks like they dropped the warning, and we're now back to a special weather statement. So, no warnings in effect here.
They don't even have a statement for it either.
At least not yet. We'll see if they issue one. I would definitely suggest, though, gusty winds still happening there. Maybe not severe anymore, but definitely some gusts to 30, maybe 40, 45 in some spots. There's a pixel down here close to 50, 49 there. So far, so good, guys. Although the storms are going to be entering the better environment here over the next couple of hours. So we'll see if they intensify or if, best case scenario, these are just going to stay pretty tame. We'll see. It is anyone's guess as of right now. Let's go ahead and flip back on the Burton camera here. It is pouring in Battle Creek. Let's go ahead and take a look at back here at the west side of Michigan real quick. Yeah, it's definitely a slow mover. Maybe some gusty winds in there on the county line of Kalamazoo and Battle Creek, south of Climax. But for the most part, not seeing too much there that warrants concern for severe. Did they cancel the thunderstorm watch already? They may have canceled some of those counties included.
Not seeing it on my end yet.
Okay. Yep. Barry, Clinton, and Gratiot. Sorry, Barry, Clinton, Gratiot, Ionia County is now out and canceled of the warning. It has continued, though, for Calhoun, Eaton, Ingham, Jackson, and Kalamazoo until 9 p.m. So basically what they're saying with the cancellation of some of these watches in the counties is once you get past this line, you're clear for the day. There's no more severe weather expected for you guys. So I will say pop-ups are still possible. It's possible to get a pop-up storm up here, by Muskegon or Big Rapid, anywhere really. But the organized structure or nature of storms should be less organized behind this initial line. So once you're behind this, you're fine. New statement now for the cell that was warned. They're going with wind gusts up to 50. That's going to include places like Grand Blanc, Burton, Atlas, Holly, Springfield Township, Tyrone Township, Linden, as well as Newark. Let's see if we have Clayton back, which we don't. Let's see if we have Brandon on here. We do have Brandon. Brandon is out here in the thumb of Michigan, Sandusky. He's going to be on the corner of 46 and 53 there, just north of Marlette. Sitting within, looks like a pop-up cell there. One of the stronger ones up there as well. Up here in Huron County, have a little bit of a hill core showing up at elevated levels just north of Bad Axe. That's going to be heading toward Port Hope and Port Austin. The Harbor Beach camera might have a good look at that one here soon. In fact, there actually is a, looks like a cell about to pass over the Harbor Beach camera. We'll have to come back to that and take a peek. We are going to cool down for a brief period of time, which is Saturday. If you consider 80s and about 5 to 10 degrees less of dew points, then yes. The unfortunate reality, though, is next week we're going to bounce right back up into the dew points into the upper 60s and low 70s. So It won't be a very long break, but it'll be a little bit of some relief there for you guys who have been experiencing the extreme heat over the past couple of days to even weeks. It's been a while. Looks like we had another cancellation of some of those watches. I'm going to see what the update on that was. Looks like they canceled a few of the counties in Southwest Michigan. Looks like Cass maybe got canceled. It'd be either Cass or St. Joseph or Berrien or all three of them. I'm not sure if they were included to begin with, but the very far southwest corner is now clear.
Like some really heavy rainfall happening in southeast Kalamazoo County right now.
Yeah, keeping a close
Frequent
eye on
lightning.
that too.
Just an update. We do have widespread tree damage in Eagle.
Okay. Sounds
I
good.
actually have a tree on the left side here that's bending over the wire.
We'll take Joel full here for a second. Point out to us where you're at.
Right in downtown, actually. There's multiple trees down everywhere in all the streets on downtown.
Can you zoom in by chance?
It's my GoPro, so not really.
I gotcha. Okay. Looks like Mike has a good view here. Sorry, Joel, I'm going to put you back in the corner. It looks like Mike has a really good view of the storm. Let's go ahead and take Mike full here real quick. Wow.
Pretty impressive structure.
Yeah, it is. Again, I don't have his dot on. Do you want?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure
I got him. He's
Okay.
Jackson County. So he's going to be out ahead of the Jackson County cell. That's a very potent looking cell too. Although right now it's not severe. The wind's on radar right around 30 to 40. But the visual structure of that is actually very impressive. Joel was an eagle. It has been windy today. In fact, Joel actually posted yesterday about the winds, gusts up to right around 25 or 30 were possible today across the state. So the wind was expected. Hey Drew, I'm gonna take your radar real quick, and I'm gonna pop out and grab some food.
Okay.
So Drew will have you covered here for about 3 minutes while I go grab some food. I will be right back.
So while Ryan does that, we'll do a quick recap with the radar right now. So currently what I have pulled up right now is Calhoun County and southeast Kalamazoo County. Right now, just some really heavy rainfall, as well as frequent lightning. Would not be shocked. Actually, let me check velocity here quick. Yeah, not seeing anything too concerning in terms of wind-wise with this, but really heavy rainfall present with this cluster right now in southeast Kalamazoo County and western Calhoun County. A few towns here would be kind of Battle Creek, just southwest of Battle Creek, southeast of Kalamazoo here. And hopefully more towns lit up here if they do. So it would be Climax area, northwest of Athens, east of Portage now. really heavy rainfall, some thunder and lightning, but that's it for now. Going back east here towards eastern Michigan, where we have 2 special weather statements in effect right now. No severe thunderstorm warnings as of now, as of 4:49 p.m. We have one up here by Saginaw County, as well as portions of Tuscola County, and that's mainly for wind. Before winds in excess of 40 miles per hour. The cell has been kind of weakening a little bit here as it continues to move off to the east here. Yeah, not seeing anything too impressive with that. Main focus is down here with this cluster that has had a history of producing power outages and tree damage, mainly in northwest Oakland County, as well as portions of Genesee County and Livingston County. So we put velocity here. Definitely have some gusty winds here embedded with this line here. Probably near severe winds here detected by radar. Once again, not all these might be reaching to the ground. Checking with power outages, we've had power outages, a decent chunk actually reported just south of Durand and northwest of Byron. A few as well west of Fenton as well. So we still are having occasional power outages reported within this line here. So once again, feel free to, if you guys have any damage of trees or anything or power lines, feel free to report that to our weather page here on Facebook. Do so safely. We never want you to head into harm's way, obviously. But if you guys want to send pictures of damage, send it there. If you guys have any cool cloud pictures like shelf clouds, we've had a history of shelf clouds reported with this line. Feel free to send that to our Michigan Storm community page. We love shelf clouds as much as you guys do, but we'd rather want them to be on the storm community page, not weather report page, so that it doesn't get all jumbled up with all of our important weather reports. So. But these are kind of the main areas that we're watching. Once again, we have multiple chasers out there. We have Mike and Brandon out there right now, as well as Joel reporting damage in by the DeWitt area. We're also watching the cell here by Jackson in Jackson County right now. But once again, winds looks like they are picking up a little bit with that cell right now. But once again, nothing is severe warned at this time. We'll be watching this little region here in northeast Jackson County here. Pull up some towns here. So I'd say areas by Waterloo Village. Should definitely be aware of this here as it continues to move off to the northeast here, as well as Stockbridge as well. But otherwise, that is it as of now. But obviously, these storms could still go severe. These storms are still in a pretty potent atmosphere in terms of instability wise. So we still could see some damaging winds as well as some downbursts as well. For those wondering, Ryan is currently getting food. He'll be back here in just a few minutes here shortly. We are getting a few power outages now. Now I'm just checking here. So that Jackson County cell has had a history of occasionally producing power outages. We have a good cluster report just west of Homer, as well as by Spring Arbor as well. So that was when the storm was further back. So nothing near as widespread, though, as the storm up to the northeast by south of Flint. So switch back to velocity here to keep an eye on these 2 cells. So I would say right now our main focus is obviously where that cell that is right here in, make sure I get this county right, southeast Genesee County as it moves into Oakland County. These winds are actually, I think they're picking up here. I want to double check this here quick. Yeah, a little bit of a uptick of winds here. We'll get a rough wind measurement. It's really close to the radar here, so I wouldn't be shocked if these winds are reaching the ground here. 50-mile-per-hour winds, so low 50, high to mid 50-mile-per-hour winds. So borderline severe winds right now in Linden, moving into Fenton, as well as portions of Holly, Tyrone Township, as well as Springfield Township. Be on the aware of this cluster that has continuously produced widespread power outages as well as tree damage. Once again, it's tapered down a little bit, but still, the storm is still pretty potent as it moves off to the east here. And Ryan is back.
You can keep going if you want to.
Okay.
I got food here, but I'm just gonna let it chill and cool off for a second.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat. So.
I don't know if you guys can see my cam right now, but I'm at the Township Hall in downtown Eagle right now. There's a wire down and a big old tree across the road here, right in front of me. Looks like it's rotted at the base, so that probably didn't help its cause any, but still, it's looks like it's blocked off Main Street here in downtown, along with dozens of other trees down here in the area. Actually, if I turn my cards just to the right here a little bit, you can see the wire down right in front of the doors here. It's a cable wire, it looks like. But tree came down right on top of it.
Yeah, now that you show that, Joel, I did see a picture of that too earlier on in our report page. I think of that similar area, so.
Got a consumer's way here, so they can fix it.
A new statement coming in now for Washtenaw County as well as Lenawee County. It's going to be for winds up to 40 as well. That's it. Winds up to 40. So, new blue box coming in here.
That was that rough area that we were watching. We had a little bit of an uptick in velocity in Jackson County.
Also, what you're talking about earlier when I first popped back on here, there's a pocket of damaging wind directly over Fenton right now. So if you're in Fenton, these winds are likely. I'm at 58, so radar indication of severe winds right now in Fenton. So likely getting rocked there in a localized area. Holly, 5 points. Newark is Lakeside as well as Lakeside already in the impact zone for that. We'll see if they decide to warn that, but that is a pocket of damaging winds there per the DTX radar, and there you go. Wait for it to pop in.
Warning.
Wait for
right when you got food.
Yeah.
Right when you got food. Come on, Ryan.
I wasn't lying either. All right, there's your warning. 60-mile-per-hour winds and no hail. Any hail should be less than severe size. So it's going to be in effect for an hour and 3 minutes. Puts us at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Places included Holly, as well as Ortonville, Independence, Perry Lake Heights, as well as Groveland Corners, Austin Corners, Davisburg, Jasmine Acres, and Newark areas. This is going to be an area of damaging winds directly over the city of Fenton, moving east, a little bit north as well, toward 5 Points and the Holly area. So if you guys live in Fenton, Holly, 5 Points, or anywhere within this yellow polygon, you guys need to be inside, away from windows, and preferably on the lowest floor of your house. That continues to move directly toward Holly. We're going to take a zoomed in look here. We're just going to keep it centered right here. About 2 minutes in Holly, you guys are about to get rocked by damaging winds here. So I would expect there to be power outages as well as tree damage and wires down in this general area. Just because we can say that with confidence, or a little bit more confidence, should I say, just because the radar beam at this location is only, I think, a matter of hundreds of feet off the ground. I'm going to go ahead and get an exact measurement of this. We're looking at roughly 500 feet off the ground. These winds are occurring. That's really, really close to the ground. So these are likely damaging winds that are happening at the surface level. So Fenton and Holly, especially here, are going to be right over Grange Hall Road and moving toward 5 Points, as well as the Holly Hills neighborhood, East Holly Road, and North Saginaw Street here in the city of Holly. You have a matter of minutes here before it's on top of you. Again, this is not a tornado. It is damaging winds, so it's still dangerous nonetheless. It can topple trees as well as produce power outages. So be inside, into your room, or perhaps even a basement if you guys have a lowest part of your house. Good idea to be there. And again, damaging wind here, very localized between Fenton and Holly, moving into Holly as we speak, or likely very soon. Linux in chat here says it's already on top of Holly, so that's not a surprise. It's moving. Text of the warning here says moving to the east at 30 miles per hour, so that's actually a little bit faster than the previous storms.
I can also see the storm. I know you guys are focusing on that Spear and Holly right now, but I can also see this second line of storms on my camera right now. It's the ones that are just off to my south. These are heading up 69, kind of south of Olivet right now. So down in the Battle Creek area. Pretty cool shot of the clouds. Of course, not hitting the trees.
All right, let's go ahead and hop back in here now directly over the Holly area. 60-mile-per-hour winds and likely going to be some damage occurring with this storm as well, unfortunately. If you guys have reports of anything, feel free to send it in to us via Messenger or our group, Michigan Weather Reports. Would appreciate any, safely do so, should I say. Appreciate any support. Appreciate any reports that you guys can send us if you can do so safely. Got to slow down and actually talk this out. So yes, outside of this general thunderstorm here, no other severe storms that we can see exist. I will say though, the Jackson County cell does look like it's intensifying just a tad bit there as that pushes into northwest Washtenaw County. It looks like the winds are closer to 40, if not a little bit over 40 now, heading toward Unidalia. Back here in Battle Creek, likely a lot of heavy rain occurring, perhaps localized flooding within Battle Creek as this progresses through the downtown area toward Marshall. And that's just a lot of heavy rain there. The winds don't look too impressive with that storm. So that should just be some rain and probably some, honestly, probably some good size flooding going on there in Battle Creek. I've actually seen some reports from you guys in chat and also just got a report behind the scenes of Battle Creek is quote unquote flooding is horrendous here. So this is going to be likely some significant flooding within the urban areas of Battle Creek. Outside of that, a statement continues for Washtenaw and parts of Lenawee County for 40-mile-per-hour winds. And again, looking at the radar here, not seeing too much in the way of anything that sticks out that's severe. Gusty winds definitely up here. Also keeping a close eye. I think this is clutter down here, but maybe perhaps some gusty winds down by Pittsford as well. But I believe that's more so clutter, and we'll wait to see if that continues as it gets closer to the airport radar. Attention back up here to the thumb as well. Got a nice looking cell. It's in Huron County. Right now it is statemented for, looks to be 40-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail, heading up toward the Port Austin and Grindstone City area, currently located over Kind. Or Kindy. I think it's called Kindy. Let's take a look at our Harbor Beach Cam, if you guys don't mind. Let's go ahead and pop that on your screen. We'll take Joel off just for a brief second. Well, it looks pretty stormy out there, but nothing too incredible, blowing your socks off type of view. Although, hold on. If we zoom in, what is... That's just a rain shaft. Okay, I got kind of fooled there for a second. There's the Burton camera. There's Charlotte. Not much going on there. So we'll leave it right there. Take the radar back here. Take Joel back on the screen here. We're going to pop... there we go. Been live here for about an hour and 45 minutes covering severe weather here across the state of Michigan. We've had a couple warnings so far, but for the majority of the day, we've been kind of on the lower end of the spectrum of the severity of the day. That's really good news. Back up here, though, toward Holly, 5 Points, and Rose Corners, some gusty winds continues to push close to 75 here. Groveland Corners, Austin Corners, Jasmine Acres, as well as Davisburg, all should be inside away from windows as the storm moves your direction. Drew, do you want to take over while I down this food really quickly?
Yeah, I can do that quick.
Sweet. Give me like 5 minutes.
All right, sweet. So while Ryan does that,
I'm still here if you need me, by the way. I'm still here.
Okay. Once again, main focus is the severe thunderstorm warning that is in place right now for, I want to make sure I get this right here, Oakland County, as well as portions of Genesee County, I believe. Yes, but mainly for Oakland County, as these winds are ongoing in Oakland County, northern Oakland County, to be more specific here. They are really close here to the radar, so we're going to kind of get a pretty good idea here what these winds are doing here. They're most likely reaching the surface here. In fact, checking power outages here. Nothing new yet popping in. Once again, we had that really big surge just south of Durand, but ever since then, we haven't really seen anything too crazy pop in. Very isolated reports that are coming in right now. So, but regardless, severe winds, very strong winds moving through right now, moving off to the east right now in Holly, right on top of you right now. Springfield Township, as well as Independence, should be on the lookout here for these winds as they move off to the east here. So head into an interior room, be away from any trees or windows. You don't want to be near any you never want to be under a tree when you have a storm coming through. It's not just the wind, but also the lightning that you have to be on the concerned of. We just had a viewer report of a lightning bolt that actually hit a tree and basically exploded it. Just had a huge portion of the tree fall down. So you don't want to be underneath the tree when you have storms ongoing. Besides that, we have a large special weather statement here off to the south here, mainly for gusty winds here. We're also monitoring that as these winds have been consistently steady, if not strengthening a little bit. So we'll be watching that as well. And as Joel was mentioning earlier on, we have another cell or storm cluster really in mainly Calhoun County here. I'll switch over the radar here. Get this switched over here. No special weather statement on it right now. Mainly just heavy downpour, lightning as well with this as well, right over Interstate 94. So perhaps some gusty winds here, noticeable via velocity. But once again, if you're traveling on Interstate 94, I would definitely be aware of this. Hydroplaning is definitely a concern here, especially with any of these storms that are ongoing. So if you are driving through any of these storms, reduce your speed. Hydroplaning is not a joke. It can, if you're going too fast, you could easily lose control of your vehicle. Especially, it can also reduce the visibility as well. So you always have to be on the lookout for other drivers as well. So always be mindful about that when you're traveling through any of these storms. We usually don't recommend to travel through these storms, but if you are, reduce your speed, get those hazards on. Don't park underneath overpasses, though. That is a big no-no for many reasons. It's one, being selfish. You're putting other people's lives at risk when you're parking underneath an overpass. And we have more significant severe weather happening when it comes to supercells. If we have hail or tornadoes, one, that's damaging everyone else's vehicles behind. But more importantly, if there's a tornado that'd be on the ground, that could basically toss all those vehicles that are now stuck. And if you're even underneath an overpass, if you're trying to hide underneath one, the wind speeds actually accelerate, which if there be any debris that would come through, that would actually do further damage than lesser damage. So once again, tornadoes are not the main concern today. The main concern today is damaging winds, but we always want to stress the importance of it because we see it every single day across the United States of people parking underneath overpasses. Looks like latest scan winds have slightly died down here, thankfully. You can see those brighter colors off to the west here when they were more in Genesee County, now in more Oakland County. You can see they're kind of falling apart here as they're moving in. Obviously, they can always re-intensify here. Still some strong winds present, but not near as strong as before. But once again, we'll be watching this storm cluster as it moves off to the east here. You also could see an outflow boundary throughout this whole entire line. This may cause additional cells to pop up along it as well. Kind of a little bit of a messy cluster. This is not anticipated to be a huge scale MCS at all. We are lacking the shear today, but once again, the pockets of more favorable shear are more to the east in portions of southeast Michigan, mainly the thumb. But once again, it's not near enough for anything long duration speaking. So, and that's kind of shown throughout the live stream. We've had this main storm right here be the main show. I mean, we went live further back here by Eagle and by the Lansing area, and we've had continuous reports of damage throughout this whole entire sector right around here. So continuous reports of damage as well as power outages. But besides that, we really haven't seen any other reports of severe weather or power outages. We've had a few reports of power outages in Jackson County with a few of these cells, but not near as widespread or significant as this severe thunderstorm warning is in effect in county. We also have off to the east here, for those that might be wondering, this little line here, this is a lake breeze that is sitting here right now, which is basically another boundary similar to an outflow boundary that could initiate more storms. So that'll be something we'll be on the lookout here as these storms continue to move off to the east here. Okay. See that? Yeah, definitely have those gustier winds, and they've been present throughout Jackson County, really following this rough line here. We've had continuous reports of near severe winds here, borderline severe. So we're going to keep an eye on that here as it continues to move off to the east here. Once again, the special weather statement is for winds in excess of 40 miles per hour, but I wouldn't be shocked if we have that pocket there, as Ryan mentioned, where we had 50 miles per hour. Could be reaching to the ground, but also could be elevated too. But the power outage map is our friend. It can tell us where, if there are any power outages happening, basically near severe winds or severe winds, basically. We'll be watching that here closely here. Not seeing anything too significant power outage wise. This cluster. Once again, we'll keep an eye on it. Looks like newest scan has weakened. Just a tad. Going back up north here where we have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect for now just Oakland County.
Have a picture and a video going on the page here momentarily of some significant tree damage. It's going to be in the Eagle area. Thank you to Lindsay for allowing us to use the photos and also posting the community page or to the reports page. Appreciate you. Hopefully everybody's okay up there.
Yeah. As Ryan mentioned, we always appreciate any reports, especially damage reports, as well as any reports at all. Really means a lot. It helps not just us, but also our local National Weather Service stations when it comes to damage surveying, especially if it comes to tornadic damage for sure as well. So once again, we really appreciate you guys sending those pictures and allowing us to share them as well. Really appreciate it. Yeah, these winds continue to weaken here in Oakland County. Not really seeing any more severe winds for now with this cell. So we're going to go back south here. Look at the airport radar and see if there's anything new with this cluster here. Still definitely some gusty winds here. 40, if not 50. Let me get some more readings here. Yeah, definitely getting wind gusts around 40, maybe a little bit higher, mainly in the 30s. So definitely some gusty winds, not quite severe. But we'll be keeping an eye on that as this line continues to move off to the east as well. Looking more north here by the thumb, we do have some additional cells here right around the Harbor Beach area where we have that camera, as well as west of Bad Axe here. Definitely some heavy downpours, checking via velocity. Not seeing anything that's really catching my eye right now. Perhaps some very weak winds, but once again, no special weather statement in effect. I would definitely agree with that for now. Not seeing any hail as well. Once again, main threat today will be that wind. So just heavy downpours, some lightning as well with these cells up here by the thumb. So right now our main focus is more just southeast Michigan as of now. New radar scan coming in. Multiple reports of heavy rainfall, which is definitely not a surprise. Just via reflectivity, you can see a lot of these reds and even occasionally some purples and purples mixing in occasionally. So definitely some very heavy rainfall. Even if you're not getting any severe winds, it doesn't mean you can't be impacted by a storm. You always have lightning. I know I mentioned this last time in our live stream yesterday, but we had an incident of 18 people that got struck by lightning in South Carolina. And I have to double check if that storm was even severe, but it doesn't really matter. Any storm can have lightning. It doesn't need to be a severe storm in order to have lightning. So when thunder roars, always go indoors with any of these cells here as they continue moving to the east here.
It's also very important to remember that it doesn't take a severe storm to produce lightning. And lightning in and of itself technically is not considered severe enough for a warning. You're not going to get a warning for lightning. So it's always important to keep that in the back of your mind.
Yep. Not seeing anything different with severe thunderstorm warning up in Oakland County here. We'll go back south here by Washtenaw County. It allows me to select the radar.
Flood advisory coming in for Marshall and Battle Creek areas.
Okay. I don't think I have it. You said advisory, right?
Advisory, correct.
Okay, I don't think I have the graphic on my radar. I don't have it turned on right now.
That's fine.
Okay. Once again, heaviest winds look to be just northwest of Ann Arbor right now. Low 40 to mid 40 mile per hour range right now. Not severe winds, but definitely some gusty winds regardless. Check out that cell 2 by Calhoun County and see how that's doing. Just some heavy downpours, it looks like mainly if we look at velocity here. Yeah, maybe a small downburst at best. I'm not seeing anything too concerning with that right now. For those that are wondering, whenever we switch over to velocity, velocity is a helpful tool for many reasons. One, we can see rotation, tornadic rotation with it, as well as downbursts, more importantly, which is really the main reason why we're using it today. It's helpful for damaging winds as well. Those are some of the key main reasons why velocity can be helpful. Reflectivity that we have right now pulled up. It's helpful to see heavy rain, first of all, as well as heavy rainfall or cores, basically a core inside a storm, as well as things like outflow boundaries, as Ryan was kind of pointing out right here. We have this huge outflow boundary, which is probably where you would find your shelf cloud, if there would be one.
Check out the screen share. We got a shelf cloud here on Annie's stream.
There you go. And a nice little shelf right there. We had all kinds of, I had a shelf cloud last night with the line that moved through West Michigan. Shelf clouds themselves are not harmless. Definitely misphrased that, or not harmful. Shelf clouds themselves are not harmful, but sometimes that can be a sign of some gusty winds or damaging winds that can be behind them. But that doesn't always guarantee that. Got some gusty winds here just northwest of the Detroit radar right now. Mainly in that 30 to 40 mile per hour range. Not really severe winds as of now. Check power averages here to see if there's anything new.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing too much anything worth mentioning on radar here, Drew. I'm just seeing a lot of gusty, gushy, I guess, showers. Gushers.
Add that to the dictionary. Yeah, Annie would be viewing the storms down here by the Ann Arbor area.
Gotta love a shelf cloud, though. Good old shelf cloud, just hanging out. A severe warning continues for northern Oakland County. 60 mile per hour winds is the hazard. However, I don't really see much of anything on radar worth mentioning for 60. We'll have to see how it looks here in a few minutes, but wouldn't be shocked to see a cancellation of that warning. Be continuous for Independence, Oakwood, Ortonville, Brandon Gardens, Perry Lake Heights, and that's about it. Yeah, so far today, it's been pretty, I'm not going to say uneventful because that'd be a lie. We've had quite a few wind damage and power outages, but definitely compared to what it was expected to be, this is a little bit more tame, personally, than I was expecting. At least so far. Let's hope it continues that way. Getting a video here. I know Drew's working on a video. I'm also working on something here as well, getting stuff uploaded for you guys. And we can leave you guys with Annie's shot here of the shelf cloud, just because there's not really a lot going on radar worth mentioning at the current time. There's a lot of gushy showers and storms, but really nothing that really warrants concern here. In fact, looks like they just trimmed back the warning even further for some counties here. I believe the counties on your screen have been continued. I'll read that off here in just a brief minute. I'm going to get this uploaded for you guys here as soon as Drew's done with his. Annie's going to be in the Ann Arbor area, Washtenaw County. So let's go ahead and pop on the watch that was just trimmed and or canceled. Let me see here. Let's go to Grand Rapids. Nothing there. Detroit area. Looks like they have canceled a few of the counties within Detroit's watch box. It continues for Lenawee, Monroe, Wayne, Washtenaw. It's going to be a challenge for me. Macomb, Oakland, Livingston, St. Clair, Lapeer, Sanilac, and Huron counties. It continues for. Let's go ahead and take back the radar here, and we're going to leave Annie up there in the top right of your screen. We'll bring her back on here in just a brief minute, but I want to show you guys radar. It's been a minute since we looked at radar. Top to bottom here, from the thumb, we got a couple storms up in Sandusky area, Harbor Beach, as well as the Huron County, Bad Axe, Caseville areas. None of those are severe. Got just some general showers here in Tuscola County, down here in Lapeer County as well. And this is going to be Lapeer County as well as down here in Oakland. None of these are looking overly strong. There is a warning here for the central part of Oakland counties, but looking on velocity here, there's just not a lot going on within this whole velocity. Moving south, a broken line continues. There's going to be a nice shelf cloud with this outflow boundary right here from Ann Arbor up to about Waterford Township. So from Canton, Livonia, West Bloomfield Township, anywhere out ahead of this, look to your west. You're going to see a nice shelf cloud there moving in a few minutes. These storms, though, do not look strong or severe. Just some gusty winds, perhaps mixed drought. The Washtenaw County area does have a couple areas of 30 to 40 mile per hour winds behind the rain shield, not close to being severe. Further south into Lenawee County, much of the same continues. Got a nice cell going up by Clinton here. Keep an eye on that. A nice core there on the airport radar. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one in Lenawee County. And looking at the western part of the state here, Marshall, southern Calhoun, southeastern Kalamazoo, down here toward Cass County. This has just general thunderstorms written all over it. There's nothing severe with this. Also, the watch has been canceled for the back part of this area here, but do take note, pop-ups are still possible. We're actually getting a few pop-ups there in Ionia County that are trying to get going. We'll see if they do get going. If these do get going, no severe weather is expected if they do happen to grow. So that is your update here. So far, so good. Only a few warnings and very localized areas of damage centered around Lansing. Otherwise, today has been pretty underwhelming versus what was expected and what could have been, been a bigger day so far. Go ahead and take Annie's screen back here. She's got still a nice view of those storms in the Washtenaw County area. There we go. Been live for about 2 hours and 10 minutes. Be live here for a little bit longer. Although I will say, if these storms continue their trend of looking weak, I think we'll pop off here sooner rather than later. But we'll have to see how they interact with the environment over here first, just because there is better wind shear on the east side of the state here. But we're lacking, looks to be a trigger here. Not trigger, but not sure if it's a lack of instability or a lack of lapse rates. I haven't looked at the data, but looks like we're lacking something that gets these storms up and moving. Yeah, better wind shear is actually displaced to the north up here in the thumb. So currently the better shear, as expected, is up in the thumb region, but these storms really aren't doing much of anything right at this current moment. Looks like Mike is also driving toward this particular shot that Annie has. Bubble in my throat there. Let's go ahead and take Mike full and see what he's got on the highway there. Nice shelf car. Looks like he's on 94 if I had to guess. Don't quote me on that though. Not entirely sure. He is not on 94. He's actually on 23.
Again, that outflow boundary is surging off to the east, which, in my opinion, would probably reduce any tornado threat, really. With these cells, when you have outflow winds, that makes it pretty difficult for a storm to take on inflow and become tornadic. So, once again, main threat, it just continues to prove, would be mainly just that damaging wind threat.
Yeah, and also, Drew, with this outflow boundary surging out, the further that boundary gets from these storms, the less fuel they're going to have too, because all of that wind is getting displaced out. That's going to stabilize the atmosphere in front of it. So it's not going to be a good situation for these storms if that outflow boundary continues to surge out to the east. It's going to kill these storms off. The warning has been dropped for Oakland County, so we are back down to just statements. So statements are below severe criteria. Temps are going to drop tomorrow into the mid 80s or so. The humidity is going to drop as well. There's a cold front coming through here later on tonight. So it's going to feel a little bit cooler, but it's not going to feel like a lot cooler.
Yeah. I think you're going to more notice the dew point drops, especially in like central and western Michigan tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know I was looking at that earlier on before I hopped on here. So temperatures will drop, but not significantly. Like, don't expect waking up to like 60s and like 70s for the day. It's still gonna get hot. A lot of places will get in the 80s again. It's just those dew points will be a lot lower, which means it won't feel as hot. It'll probably feel like a nice day, to be honest, just with how much hot, with all the heat that we've been dealing.
I'm going to enjoy my mid 80s and a few degrees less than my dew points. The bad news, though, is it looks like a return next week. We're looking at likely around 70 dew points and probably mid to upper 80s for our high temperatures, if not low 90s for a couple days. But I don't see any significant 95, 100 degree days anymore. I don't see that on the horizon.
Yeah. And with that heat resurgence, we'll also to be in the lookout for more storm chances once again. Starting off once again UP, and then it'll slowly meander its way southeast. We'll see how it all shapes out to be, whether or not if we get that perfect right alignment with the environment given at hand. Sometimes we can have that where a low pressure system can move off to the east, but sometimes if it's not in the right situation, then we don't really get the brunt of the severe weather. And I guess a good example of that would have been yesterday. Friday, we had the better lift and shear left to the west in states like Wisconsin and Iowa, and we kind of struggled to get severe weather going over here. We had extreme amounts of instability, though, which that kind of helped to produce a few severe thunderstorm warnings, but it prevented it from being more of a widespread case. So
I will say that storm in Lenawee County that was popping up there, a little bit of a downburst nature by the Clinton and Manchester areas. Not anything to be concerned about yet, but it does have a nice core on it, both on the airport radar as well as the Detroit radar. Same thing up here in Salem Township with this, perhaps a little bit better of a core. So again, nothing on radar here looks strong or severe. So we'll have to see if this continues. If this continues until we're going to probably put a limit at like 6 o'clock or so. That might be a good time for him to kind of wrap things up if things look continually weakening. So yeah, it's pretty relaxed here, which is good news.
indeed.
Hillsdale, more storms tonight. Well, let's take a look at the radar here. There is a potential for more storms for Hillsdale. Looking back to the west here, we do have additional showers and storms going up. Very slow moving to your west, although it's anybody's guess they're going to make it over to you. So we'll have to see what happens. These should not be strong or severe on the back side of this main line. What's back here should not be strong or severe.
Things are a little bit quiet here. Once again, we appreciate our mods and chasers for working their butts off today. We appreciate mods keeping the chats under control, and appreciate the chasers taking their time and putting themselves in potential harm's way when it chased these storms. We had amazing views. from many of our chasers today. So once again, huge shout out to them.
Gonna come on through here and make sure we're not missing anybody's feeds. We have a new statement coming in here. We'll talk about that in just a second. But is it just me, Drew, or does it seem like Southeast Michigan over the winter they didn't get much snow, and it seems like every single like storm system this year so far kind of peters out when it crosses US 23 over toward East Michigan. I don't know if I'm just imagining things, but it seems like almost every single setup this year, East Michigan has not produced much of anything.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. It's kind of interesting because here on the west side, so for those that don't know, I live in the west side, Ryan lives on the east side of the state. On the west side, we've been really quiet in terms of storm-wise for the past, I would say, 2 years. And this year, we've been incredibly active. I believe Kent County's had like 5 tornadoes or 6 tornadoes. So, and here, at least, especially in west central Michigan, I know southern Michigan, like places like Portage, obviously have had their fair share of active weather throughout the years. But like places like west central Michigan have been really quiet, and this year we've really been just getting all kinds of severe weather. So, yeah, a little bit of a funky year, a little bit of a different year.
Yeah, it just seemed pretty quiet over here. There's been a few tornadoes over here, like the Milan tornado this year that happened back in March. There was another one further north, a couple of them actually, up by, I think, the Perry area, if I'm not mistaken, up there in Shiawassee County. But yeah, it's just been pretty quiet year compared to West Michigan for sure. So kind of in a drought for significant snow and significant severe weather on the east side, which is not a bad thing, but as a storm chaser, it keeps you on your toes, that's for sure. New statement coming in. It's a large one. We have southern Sanilac, all of St. Clair, all of Macomb, all of Oakland, or parts of Oakland looks like, and then also parts of Lapeer. This is going to be for winds in excess of 40 miles per hour, radar indicated, and the gusty winds could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects, aka your trash cans. So secure your trash cans. That'd be a good idea if you're out ahead of this line. And also, we'll take note that this outflow boundary continues. If you guys love storm pictures, you guys need to get your cameras out. If you live out ahead like Sterling Heights, Warren, Detroit perhaps, anywhere up here in St. Clair County, you have a photo op for a shelf cloud before the main line gets to you. So as long as it's not thundering and lightning outside, you have a chance to get out there, look to your west, and see a nice, beautiful shelf cloud pushing across your area. If these storms continue to look like this, we're going to cap our stream here at 6 o'clock. I don't see a reason to continue on here as long as these storms don't look like they're intensifying, because they're close to the Canadian border here, and I just don't think it's necessary to stay on another hour or 2 hours just to watch them cross into Canada. So we'll give it another 20 minutes or so, and we'll go from there.
Speaking of shelf clouds behind the scenes here, Ryan, I just got a picture of a pretty nice one that is now moving through across the east side of the state. So we have some weather enthusiast friends behind the scenes here, and we have one that's out and about. Had a nice picture of a shelf cloud. So like Ryan mentioned, this is a great opportunity to, the shelf is it's nice because it's kind of really ahead of the line with that outflow boundary. So you kind of don't really have to worry about, like in other situations where sometimes you have that shelf cloud hugging right along the line and you have lightning and other things you have to be more concerned about. I'm not saying you can't have maybe some lightning with this outflow boundary, but it's surging so far ahead of this line that it's really just a beautiful view that you can have with that shelf cloud. So
looks like they are going to reduce that watch even further. Go ahead, Drew.
And I was going to add too, like Ryan had a beautiful shelf cloud yesterday, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the better shelf clouds I've seen. I haven't chased actually in a while, so seeing a shelf cloud like that really kind of rejuvenates you as a chaser. But it was really beautiful, and unfortunately it did some damage, not to property, but mostly to trees and power lines. So it was Wasn't the worst case scenario, but it was a really beautiful shelf cloud for what it's worth. South line is very noisy. I'm not seeing too much lightning on radar here, Drew. I'm not sure if. Okay, I was gonna say maybe it's broken, but it looks like there's a few strikes up there by Highland. Maybe one down here by Hamburg. But for the most part, there's not a ton of lightning with these storms today.
Yeah, with the reduction of lightning with this line, that also suggests that this line is weakening. Sometimes, for those that might not be aware of this, but sometimes when you have a huge uptick in lightning, that might be because the updraft of that storm is strengthening and increasing. And if the lightning is decreasing on a storm, sometimes it's usually a sign of a storm complex or storm in general weakening. So it's definitely on the weakening trend with this line. Still could have a few local downbursts or damaging winds or strong winds for sure, maybe, as the special weather statement notes, for 40-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah, so no severe warnings in effect here as of current time, 5:46 p.m. We do have a pocket that I just noticed here of some increased winds right by the radar here, Seven Harbors area. It's not even close to severe, but it is increasing, and it's 40 miles per hour right by the radar. So definitely some gusty winds just north of M59 here, it appears, moving right toward the radar here in White Lake. We'll see if that continues to strengthen as it pushes in toward the radar. Up here in Dryden as well, perhaps a little bit higher wind gust, although it looks like it's displaced a little bit further to the east of the rain core. But perhaps some gusty winds up there in Dryden. Also, I see a gifted membership here from Aaron. Thank you, Aaron, for gifting 10 memberships. Appreciate your support of the channel, and welcome to the team, guys, who just got gifted. I see quite a few of them popping in here. If you are a subscribe to us on YouTube and somebody decides to gift us or gift you guys memberships, that is randomly chosen by YouTube. So as long as you are subscribed to us here, you have a chance to be gifted a membership to MSC. I have the Dearborn camera pulled up here. It is currently sunny, but I do think that on the left side of your screen there is your outflow boundary approaching Dearborn. So I think we're going to get a good look here at a shelf cloud next 20 or so minutes, if I had to guess. And it may be a good view because it's pointed right at the northwest. And it's coming like right at the camera. So yes, the UP did not really reach. I mean, I think today's high was like 60, close to 70 in the western part of the UP, or the eastern part. But like most of the UP today was in the 50s and 60s. So if you guys want cool weather, go to the UP.
For those that are wondering, for just a general future ahead of the schedule kind of a thing, there is a huge storm complex out in North Dakota. They'll be getting severe weather from that, and that will be the next system we'll be watching here for Michigan here in the coming days here. So I believe they have an enhanced risk of severe weather out in North Dakota today. But that will be the storm complex will slowly kind of work its way across the state here. So as you can see what Ryan's pulling up, enhanced risk. They have an all hazard threat today. Tornadoes, damaging winds, and hail. They have a supercellular threat. So not the thing that you want to see, especially since North Dakota recently got slammed by a derecho, as well as multiple strong tornadoes. So they've been getting their fair share of active weather. So that will be the next system here that we'll be watching for our state.
Yeah, and also going along with that, I see the latest SPC update at 1:30 today. They did end up trimming back the marginal from the UP. Its borders up here for tomorrow near Ironwood, but it was into the UP here slightly, and now that's just outside the UP. So tomorrow may get a break here from severe weather, but if you turn on the day 3 outlook, you'll see that returns back to the UP here. A slight risk in effect there, and a marginal extends down to Manistee, Traverse City, Gaylord, Newberry, and the Marquette areas. So that would be for the Sunday time frame. So active weather continues. Today is just day 4, day 5 of severe weather here. I don't know if I think we've been live for the past 4 or 5 days, Drew. It's been a stretch here.
Yeah.
But we're here for it. That's what we're here for. So just happens to be a decent looking day here in Michigan where we had a risk, and so far in what it appears to be continuing, the risk seems pretty subtle in nature. Of course, we had some damage earlier in the Lansing area, but for the most part, everything else has stayed pretty much tame, and it continues to look tame. I don't see a single thing to be concerned about on radar. Like, there's just nothing here that catches my eye. Let's check back here in the Marshall area. We'll take a look at both radars. I think even these back here are weakening too. They don't look impressive at all. So this is like a best case scenario of the day. So far, it's just not materializing as expected. So that's good.
Yeah, the best shear is actually to the northwest of the line. You have 35 knots, and even still, it's not really that impressive. So
yeah, I'm looking at that right now too. It's just not a lot of stuff to work with.
just some gusty thunderstorms / showers that are ongoing across the state, really, is the best way to put it. So
looks like our chasers are popped off here, so we're going to go ahead and take them off the screen at the time being. Make sure nobody else is out here. Make sure all clear from these guys. And I don't blame them either. There's just not much out there to chase, so probably packing up and heading back home.
again, this is associated with a cold front, so once this line moves through, temperatures and dew points will slowly start dropping as the evening goes by, going into Saturday. So for at least lower Michigan, nicer weather for Saturday.
Well, we have a little bit of downtime here, Drew, and we're about to wrap things up anyway, so I'm going to give a shout out to our trusted partners and sponsors here at MSC. We have multiple who provide services to you guys, from roofing, siding, exterior, gutters, security, audio, video, and even tree services as well. We have everything you guys could ever dream of. If you happen to need their services, feel free to contact these guys I'm about to name off, or contact us directly. We'll get you in touch with the right people. Let's go ahead and start with StormGuard Roofing and Siding. They are based in the Detroit metro area. For roofing construction needs, feel free to get a hold of StormGuard. Lifestyle Exteriors, they're based in the Lansing area for exterior needs on your home. Katz Roofing and Siding, based in the Potterville area for roofing and siding needs. Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding, they are based up in the Thumb, providing roofing and siding needs for St. Clair and Satellite counties. McKay Tree Specialists, based across much of southeast Michigan. Kuiper Tree Care, based in the West Michigan area. We got Gull Lake Tree Pro, based in Kalamazoo. FBI Buildings, they are based in Indiana, but they do cover a majority of the Lower Peninsula with building barndominium needs. On Top Roofing, based in Livingston County. We got Schneider Commercial Building Solutions for roofing and commercial building solution needs. Shield Public Adjusters for helps on your insurance claims. Feel free to get a hold of Shield. Floor Coverings of Michiana for all any flooring needs in the Michiana area. Top Gun Roofing Exteriors, based in West Michigan. A-Class Construction and Restoration, based in Mason County, which is up there in the western northern part of Lower Michigan. We have Rainbow Restoration. They are based in Kent County for your restoration cleanup needs. Our Skycam sponsor and also audio-video security needs, Guardian Technologies, based up in Burton. And last but not least, our newest sponsor here, Rapid Radios. They have provided us communications to our chasers in the field. As we explained on the last stream, our communications were interrupted as we switched over to a new software, and they have stepped up here at Rapid Radios to provide us communication in the field. And we look forward to using their products here in the coming streams and on our page here in the future. So thank you to all these sponsors who help keep us rolling here, providing services to both us and to you guys. Feel free to get a hold of these guys if you happen to need their services. They are all trusted partners through our vetted process. Would appreciate all of you guys giving them your business if you happen to need their business. So with that said, I see a couple other people gifting memberships and giving super chats. I see, excuse me, Fun Times here with a $10 super chat says, thank you, MSC, again for all you do. We'll be buying stuff off your wish list. That is a blessing, Fun Times. Appreciate you. We do have a wish list if you guys wish to buy us stuff directly. It is completely optional, but it is there for you guys to donate and to buy stuff for us, chasers and staff alike. Looks like Mark has gifted 5 memberships there. Thank you, Mark, for that. And welcome to the team, those you just got gifted. And looks like we got another Fun Times with a $10 super chat. Says MSC is number 1. Thank you to all the chasers, mods, Drew, Mike, and Joel. Grateful for all of the time you put into this. Appreciate you. Thank you for your super chat. Also, want to take a note on my camera here at home base. I don't know if I can pull this full or not. I'm going to try to. But looks like I have some pretty good outflowish looking structure here. I wouldn't call it whale's mouth, but it looks outflow dominant-ish. Looking back here on radar behind the scenes, looks like we do have a couple areas of, I guess I lied. There's really no areas to watch. There's really nothing here on radar that sticks out. So we're almost 6 o'clock here, guys. So perhaps you can pop out of here early. What do you think, Drew? Is that a good idea, or do you want to stay on here? Excuse me, stay on here a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really seeing anything concerning these winds just continue to weaken. I haven't really seen any signs of anything that would indicate anything strengthening. Better shears once again to the north. And we have more storms off on Lake Huron there maturing that are going off into Canada, but that's not Michigan. So, and the cells that are off to the west are also just continuing to weaken, and they are in even worse shear than the cells here in eastern Michigan. So just really downpours and lightning really is what I'm seeing. Maybe perhaps 30, 40 mile per hour winds occasionally mixing in, but not seeing any signs of anything intensifying as of now.
I think the area of gustiest winds is directly over the radar currently, if I had to guess. I'm going to wait to see how that looks coming out, but looks like we had some increase of velocity there going into the radar. Let's see what it looks like coming out before we hop out of here. But other than that, yeah, as Drew just mentioned, there's just not much going on here. So let's take a look back at our cameras. There's just not much.
Yeah, with your shot that you had at your place, Ryan, with all those, that partially whale's mouth action, that reminds me of what I was seeing last night. For those that weren't aware, I went chasing last night in Ionia County and had, I believe many viewers actually saw just a beautiful sunset with all kinds of just turbulent action underneath the storm. There was actually a flood advisory that was issued for Ionia County just because those storms were just trailing over one another. So, and then we had more storms later under the night with a bunch of lightning and gusty winds as well, but no severe weather during the evening. Just a bunch of really beautiful storms, in my opinion, on the west side of the state.
I can attest to that. The pictures you sent last night were gorgeous. I think actually I posted one to the page of the beautiful underneath of that cloud deck you were looking at. It was gorgeous.
Looks like there's a new meso discussion that just came out, right?
Yeah, I saw that. I'm trying to find it. It's not reading for me at this current time. See if I can pull it up on the website.
Yeah, I think it's on the website.
Okay, I'll look at it here. For those who don't know, MD is a mesoscale discussion, and they're issued by the SPC, the people who issue the official outlooks. And basically, they highlight circled areas of the region, and they say this area is an area we're going to watch for a tornado watch or an increasing severe threat or this and that. So when we say a new MD is coming in, that usually means we have new information that SPC is thinking, whether a new watch is going to be issued or canceled or whatever. So. Basically just says that the threat for an isolated damaging wind risk continues until about 7 o'clock, so another hour or so. But looking on radar here, I mean, their outflow boundary is now pushing in toward Dearborn up here through Brockway now. And what's behind it really just does not concern me. We're watching that one area out on the radar here, which may become a little bit of a concern with the wind here. But as of right now, I don't really see that. I mean, it is actually kind of strengthening there just a bit as it comes out of the radar. I don't know if you noticed that, Drew, by Oregon Township.
Yeah, just a tad. Yep.
Just a tad bit. I mean, it's not close to severe, but if that continues, it may get close. Drew, if you want to pop out of here, you're welcome to. I'll give you the green light to do that. I'm going to probably stay on a few more minutes and see what that does. But in the meantime, we're going to pop out of here probably pretty soon either way. So I just want to pop on and stay on until I know that it's not going to become an issue here. So
yeah, I'll stay on here. No biggie.
Okay. Well, while we're kind of sitting around here waiting on things, you guys got questions, feel free to drop them in chat here. I'll go ahead and plug something real quick, and I'll plug it every stream I can, as long as nothing huge is going on. If you're a business or individual watching in the West Michigan area, usually I'm talking about like west of US 131 or south of I-94, anywhere in Michigan, we are looking for sponsors for weather cameras. We have probably close to 12 or 15 locations planned or already existing in East Michigan, but we don't have much of any in West Michigan. We have Manistee, and the next closest cam is Charlotte. We need cameras over in like Holland, Berrien County, South Haven, Muskegon. We need cameras in those counties and on the lakeshore areas. So if you guys have a business and want to sponsor a weather camera for us so we can have some cool shots of storms coming in, we will gladly partner up with you. You can get with us. We'll talk about details and pricing and all that. But we are not going to say desperate need, but we are looking primarily for West Michigan camera sponsors, as it seems to be a lot of East Siders want in, but not a lot of West Siders want in. So. How is derecho pronounced? I call it derecho. Show. I think the official term is cho. I think Drew says the cho.
I say derecho.
Right. When I first got into weather 10, 12 years ago, I call it derecho. But it's a derecho. I call it show. I don't know the official pronunciation for it, but either way,
I've
it's pretty
heard
close.
Both from many meteorologists and weather enthusiasts, so I think it just depends on who the person is.
Right. Can I donate a camera if possible? John, you are more than welcome to donate a camera if you'd like to. We say businesses primarily because businesses can advertise with us as well. We can go through our camera sponsors right now, actually. I mean, we have locations that have sponsored a camera or hosted one. Ionia here, Old Stone Porch here in Ionia, their wedding venue. They put a camera up there facing to the west. It's come in handy quite often this year. Then also we have the Gargant. Oh, look at that. Mattis and Burton there in Gargant camera. This is from the Gargant HQ here. This is facing to the south. They went ahead and put this up for us. But we also have the Charlotte Fire Department who hosted a camera here as well. And there's a Dearborn camera. We need more cameras, guys. Also Hampton Inn in Manistee hosted a camera here in Manistee on the hotel here. So if you want your business to be shouted out, put your logo on the screen for you. We can do that for you. Just you need to get a hold of us and talk about information and stuff like that. But if you are an individual and you want to financially sponsor a camera, we can work with the guys to place it. We have locations who have offered for hosting, but not the sponsorship side of things. So I would tell you where new cameras are planned, but I want it to be a secret, so I'm not going to. But we have, I think, I just talked to Garchin today. We have like 7 or 8 locations or so planned, like set in stone planned. We'll be in probably between now and August. We'll have most of those set up, I'd have to imagine. So most of those are on the east side, though, which is why we're trying to get west side sponsors here to step up. No, there are currently no warnings, either severe or tornadic, in the state of Michigan. All we have right now are a couple flood advisories and a couple statements here for some gusty winds. In fact, we're about to wrap up the stream here, as long as this area in Oakland County does not look concerning in the next couple of scans. This is actually a beautiful shot here. I cannot tell you how many times the Burton camera has come in handy this year.
We get some sun rays kind of filtering the Dearborn one.
Mm-hmm. Are there any cameras in Grand Rapids? The answer would be no. No one has stepped up to do that for us yet. So again, West Michigan, we are looking for camera sponsors.
We'll say, Ryan, newest scan does amplify those winds a little bit more.
Does it?
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. So we'll stay on here, and we'll see if these become strong enough to be warned. Again, kind of backing this up and taking my radar back so you guys can see what I'm talking about. The brighter reds here on the right side of the radar. We'll go ahead and animate this and back this up. You can kind of see here, as these winds passed over the radar, they're kind of brighter green there, and it shoots out the other side. Now it's kind of brighter red. So these may be intensifying winds, and we're going to stay here and just keep an eye on these as they move across Oregon Township toward Romeo and Washington Township and Shelby Charter Township here in Macomb County. So we'll stay live here and make sure that's not going to be an issue.
There we got a report via YouTube chat, Ryan, that someone lost power in Auburn Hills, which is right where we're kind of keeping an eye on.
I mean, radar indication is probably right around 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. Maybe a pocket up here by Oregon Township about 50. But other than that, Auburn Hills, we'll have to see. Maybe they're stronger than the radar is showing us here. So let's check out the outage map. We have 21,000 people currently without power. Check on the airport radar here and not getting anything there. So as it sits right now, Oakland has about 750 people out and Macomb has about 870 people out. We'll see those numbers start to increase here.
Those that are wondering, this is really, like Ryan mentioned, just the only area of pocket of winds that we're watching. Currently not severe right now, but has been showing some signs of intensification. We'll see if that continues here, but everywhere else it's just rain and thunder and lightning.
Yes, indeed. Power flickering in Rochester. Interesting. Well, I mean, the winds here, I mean, I do have pockets close to 50. Thank you, Aaron, for the super chat asking, I have anxiety. Generally, at what level of a warning should I start worrying? I'm in Montcalm County. That's actually a very good question. And the answer is you should be taking all severe as well as tornado warnings as well as flash flood warnings seriously. Now, we do have different levels of severe, and the higher you go, the more at risk you are. So your typical base severe storm is quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And that can bring down trees. So if you have any large trees by your property, it's a good idea to head down to your basement in case that tree does collapse. You're in the lowest part of your house, so it's not really going to reach you. So think of it, if it falls in your house, you'll be at the lowest part of your house. It's not going to reach you. It's going to hit the top of your house. And usually those base severe storms, unless you're in a trailer, they usually don't, take roofs off or destroy homes. Now, we go up to a considerable severe warning. That's 70-mile-per-hour winds or golf ball size hail. That's kind of what I would consider like the real deal type of situation, where you have like really strong, really strong winds that could take shingles off and can blow weak built roofs off. And then also large hail, especially wind-driven hail, can destroy siding and windows as well. So that's also a basement interior part of your house as well. Now, if you really want to take things seriously, you should be taking everything seriously, but destructive, severe, and also any tornado warnings, you need to be in your basement immediately. Like there's no excuse that you need to be anywhere else besides your basement or interior room of your house. Destructive is 80-mile-per-hour winds or greater, or baseball-sized hail or larger, and that can easily destroy weakly built structures, as well as baseball-sized hail can destroy siding and windows easily. So, and obviously tornadoes are very serious. Any type of tornado is serious, so. But all of them should be taken seriously. But when you get those considerable tags or destructive tags, that's when it's kind of like, all right, I gotta do something extra here to protect myself, just in case.
Looks like winds have become a little bit more widespread. Looks like Washington Township. Definitely going to look out here for these gustier winds that are moving through right now. Or in the Romeo area as well.
Yeah, so Armada, Richmond, New Haven, and Macomb Township as well. Further downstream in this is going to be a statement area for 40-mile-per-hour winds, and that's what it seems to be on radar here. So, new scan coming in there. It looks like it continues about 40 or 50-mile-per-hour winds there. Yeah, pockets of 45 to 50 now.
Yeah.
But also,
seeing a little bit more widespread too.
You got to think too that the further it gets from the radar, the higher up we're looking too. So if we go back here a couple scans, it did look a lot weaker here, but as it moves further away, I wonder if these winds are kind of elevated above the ground a little bit too. That could be the case. Either way, they'll be live until these winds either look like they're dying down or it's out of the country completely, because it's going to Ontario here in about probably 45 minutes. Looks like we have a report that Southfield gusted to 34. I believe that's going to be in There it is. That's going to be with that boundary, alpha boundary, that is currently progressing through southeast Michigan there. I got the Dearborn camera still pulled up here. It's a little gusty there, not probably like 20 to 30. Not too overly aggressive with the winds, but you can tell it's blowing a little bit. It's actually blowing a little bit harder now. Let me take the warning bar off the screen so you guys can see the tree in the bottom of the corner there. Latest scan looks like it's continuing about 50 miles an hour there on the county line of Macomb and Oakland. Let's take a peek back here for our friends in southwest Michigan and look at velocity. I can already tell you it's going to be pretty weak in nature. These are pretty much dying at this point. There's not a lot working for these storms. And also what happened up here in Ionia, those little blips that try to pop up have all but diminished. So these two cells here are what's keeping us live, and that's going to be because some gustier winds could be occurring with them. Otherwise, the entire state's pretty much all clear, minus right now Macomb as well as perhaps St. Clair counties. I'm going to get a post out, Drew, real quick.
Okay. And the gustiest winds right now are over Washington Township right now, as well as Romeo, heading east onto Road 53 here. Be about 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts with the heaviest of winds as they move off to the east. But just like Ryan mentioned, some of these might not really be fully mixing to the ground here. We'll be watching these here closely. It's really the only area that is worth watching right now. And we're further downstream. I don't know if it's Armada or if it's Armada. One of the two ways to say it. As
Armada,
well as Richmond.
I believe.
Armada. Okay. Armada, Richmond, New Haven, Memphis, Columbus, Casco. You all are downstream of these winds here. Once again, these winds aren't severe as of now. A little bit, like I said, we're a little bit on the gustier side. That's why that special weather statement is in effect right now. I'd be shocked maybe if a few limbs, small limbs, could be broken off potentially in these gustiest of winds. getting reports that these winds are gusty in Rochester. That makes sense. They were over region here. Past one or two scans, these winds have been pretty consistent. They kind of strengthened kind of quickly, and now they're kind of just staying at that 40, low 50 range.
Lights are flickering in Royal Oak, says Kit Kat. Interesting.
The cells by the Kalamazoo area are weakening right now. All right, I think we have a few questions going on in CPN right now.
Yeah, I'm in there.
Okay. We're getting a few people saying they're without power still in Auburn Hills. Must have been some sort of, these winds must have done something potentially. Newest scan has the winds weakening a little bit here. Still have a few stronger gusts in the 40 range, but not near as widespread as they cross over Road 53 here. Good sign to see here. See if that continues to be the case. And that scan is as of 6:21. Time is 6:22 here, so we'll have a new update via radar in a few minutes here. But otherwise, besides that, it's just really rain, thunder, lightning, and just some gusty winds. So it's just this region that we're kind of watching is really the main area of, I guess, heaviest gusts of wind right now, which, like I said, they aren't severe. Special weather statement, so just strong winds. Severe winds are, I believe, 57 or 58, Ryan?
58.
58.
Yep.
58 miles an hour or greater. So we're not seeing those values right now with these storms right now.
Got Killjoy coming back for month number 8. Thank you, Killjoy, for renewing your membership. Appreciate you. Drew, looks like that cell in southeastern Oakland has intensified just a bit as well. Moving in toward Troy and Sterling Heights.
Oh, yeah, sure enough.
So we'll see here. I mean, we're going to be live for a little bit longer, I guess, as much as I'd love to end the stream here. The last thing I want to do is end the stream. I have to go back live in 5 minutes for these storms. So we'll stay on here for a little bit longer. Again, if you're watching and you're not from Macomb County or the southern part of St. Clair County, you are all clear. There's no need for you guys to be worried any further for anything severe-wise. The only thing we're going to watch here is some gusty, currently non-severe winds that may, on the off chance, strengthen into perhaps strong to severe winds for Macomb and St. Clair counties here. But otherwise, 98% of you guys are all clear. Any questions, guys? Feel free to pop in here and ask us whatever you guys want. It's pretty, I'm not going to say boring right now, but there's not much going on to talk about on the radar. So if you guys got questions about us, MSC, or weather, feel free to hit us.
See one question here saying, what kind of radar do we use? So right now Ryan has pulled up Radar Omega. It's an app where I believe anyone can get, right, Ryan?
Yep.
Yep. Is it $9 or $10 to get in the App Store?
I'm not going to pull that up, actually. Actually, we can, because it's not actually being displayed. The doesn't say for some reason.
Yeah, so the initial cost is either, I think, $9 or $10. That's just to access radar, and then there's more subscriptions you could pay for in terms of more radar features. Like you can go 3D, you can access older radar data from previous events. There's all kinds of fun stuff you can do. Radar Mega is not the only radar app that you can use. There's also a Radar Scope. As many of you guys are aware, Joel uses GR2, which that costs a lot more. I think a few $100s, I believe.
Yeah.
That has a lot of fancy details too that I'm not too familiar with, but yeah.
There's quite a few. Quite a few.
There's a few new ones popping up too, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's a new one called Weatherfront that's starting to become more popular.
Yeah, there's a couple ones. There's WSV3 as well, and that's a very popular one people use. There's what was it called? Weatherwise.
There's also My Weather Radio too.
I don't know. There's so many popping up there, but we use a plethora of quite a few radars here and data points. Talk about the software you use to display the weather graphics. I assume that you mean the radars, or are you talking like there's forecasts? How fast is the system moving? These storms here about east at 30 miles per hour. How do you not know how much rain the Kalamazoo area got, unfortunately? I know there's a flood advisory, probably a few inches I have to assume. Yeah, Weatherwise is the one I was talking about. IntelliCast, that's another one there. The wind is crazy. Define crazy, Marissa, and also where you at. I do see central Macomb County here looks pretty gusty on the radar, but again, flipping that over here to the reflectivity, it doesn't really seem to line up with what would be gusty winds here. So Sterling Heights and Clinton Township and Utica, those areas currently have what looks to be the strongest gusts. What creates a pop-up storm? Source of lift and a lot of instability. That could be like a lake breeze boundary, an outflow boundary, a cold front, a warm front, a short wave. There's a lot of stuff that could pop storms up. This is a live radar, yes. Graham Blank, you're all clear. If you're not in Macomb or St. Clair County, you are pretty much all clear for the evening for severe weather. There's a couple showers and storms still out there up here in Kalamazoo area. Although this is not severe, is not expected to be severe. Also take note that there are storms popping up just across the border here in Wood County, moving into Lucas County here. Those may drift into Lenawee or Monroe. So we'll keep an eye on those too. Further north, not much going on up there, just some pop-up cells by Mankato, as well as Alcona. And the UP, looks like we have pretty much clear radar up there. Let's check out the airport radar on that cell. And even the airport radar, Drew, doesn't really have much anything on the surface here in Troy or Sterling Heights, so I doubt these winds are on the surface.
Yeah.
So, with that said, though, we know that I would be more inclined to end the stream. In fact, the statement actually just dropped, so we are now back into severe thunderstorm watch mode, and that remains in effect for a couple of the eastern counties. But the good news is the storms have moved out, or about to move out of the watch area, and the watch should be probably canceled here, I'd assume, very shortly, next hour or so. Explain whale's mouth. Whale's mouth is basically what happens underneath the shelf cloud. So it's basically a very turbulent sky. It basically is called whale's mouth because it looks like a whale's mouth. You're going to see a lot of motion. You're going to see a lot of like a little dips and divots and a lot of twisting. It's very turbulent. Lights are flickering in St. Clair Shores. Interesting. Wind hitting Harrison Township. I wish we had a camera over here in Algonac so we could point to the west across Lake St. Clair. That'd be a good view.
Yeah.
Still a chance of lightning. Yeah, there's a couple strikes out there by Rochester Hills, but overall, lightning is not a giant concern with these storms. I don't see much any actually on radar. So, for the most part, you are all clear. Not all clear, but for the most part, it's not a huge concern. Huge shelf cloud just moved northeast through Roseville towards St. Clair Shores. Very windy downdrafts. Okay, thank you, Music Lover. Appreciate that. Anybody watching who wants to sponsor a camera in the Algonac area or along the Lake St. Clair? That'd be great. Point a camera right here in like Perch Point, point across toward New Baltimore. Be a gorgeous view. Detroit Tigers in a weather delay. I'm not surprised at all. Although the good news is what's happening rain-wise is very light in nature, and most of it heavier is to the north. So you should be good to go there in Detroit soon. I assume they're playing Detroit. Looks like they've just canceled the watch. Looks like.
Not surprised if they did.
Yeah, it looks like they just canceled it completely. So No more severe watch per the SPC. Says the SPC has canceled weather watch number 466. And I click it, it takes me right to the original watch box. So that means the watch is now over. And I think, Drew, we're going to pop out of here as long as you think we're good to go as well. I don't see a reason to stay on at this point.
Yeah, I'd
So,
agree.
In the event this storm does happen to, for some reason, go warned again, we'll pop back on and we will get you guys up to speed. But for right now, I think it's safe to say an all clear can be given for 99% of the state here. I am going to watch the cell down across the border here. It is on the outflow boundary, or perhaps a lake breeze boundary here. This is a very classic lake breeze boundary, actually, from Lake Erie. That could spark some showers and storms, especially because we haven't had any storms down here just yet. So some still instability available for these storms to pop off. We'll watch that carefully. Wouldn't be shocked to get one more warning sometime tonight, but for right now, the threat seems very, very localized and diminished greatly. So in the time being, I am Ryan, joined by Drew here, Mr. Storm Chasers. We're going to sign off for the evening. And like I said, though, we'll be live in the event we need to go for severe weather again. So you guys take it easy, stay safe, stay cool out there. We'll catch you guys hopefully not tonight or not tomorrow, probably Sunday, for either a weekly stream or more severe coverage or both. So you guys take it easy.
Yeah.